Chapter 584. 9 Luminaries Golden Pill. Lin Yu found it interesting. Master is indeed amazing. He saw the best item in this treasure appraisal at first glance. Although they were here to save people, they still had to go through 3 rounds of the Flower Appreciation Festival before that. After all, Lin Yu had already tried the shortcut yesterday. The 2 tower masters of the Moonstep Tower were personally guarding the sky, reflecting Mirror and Little Mimi, so it was no longer realistic to take a shortcut. This item is also one of the purposes of the other forces participating in the Flower Appreciation Festival. Zhang Qingxue immediately explained, I heard that the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill can help Earth Sovereigns break through to Sky Sovereigns. I don't know if it's true or not. It's true. Lin Yu smiled and put down the list in his hand. He smiled and said, the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill requires 9 different Law Realm experts to pour their entire life's cultivation into the pill. In the initial stage of the pill, it also requires the condensation of 9 Supreme Realm experts' supreme intent and a total of 387 herbs to finally have a chance to refine the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill. Hearing Lin Yu speak clearly and logically, Zhang Qingxue was stunned. Master, you're indeed an amazing alchemist. She only knew the rumored effects of the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill, but Lin Yu had told her the refining method. How could she not be impressed? Master, don't tell me you still know what those 300-odd herbs are? I know, but it's quite troublesome to talk about them. Lin Yu stroked his chin. 7 Sunflower, Eternal Stone Seed, Netherworld Heart Grass. He named the names of the strange herbs one by one. Zhang Qingxue only felt confused and even had a headache. Master, stop. Zhang Qingxue stopped Lin Yu. If you continue, the Flower Appreciation Festival will end. Lin Yu smiled. He originally wanted to say that the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill could directly help a Law Realm expert break through to the next level. For example, Lin Yu's current cultivation level was at the 1st level. If he took the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill, he could directly step into the 2nd level of the Law Realm. Zhang Qingxue was anxious. Lin Yu did not waste any more time and left the room with her. The 10 Great Supremes were already waiting outside. When they saw Lin Yu, they all clasped their fists in greeting. The group of people arrived at the location of the Flower Appreciation Festival. This was a square about 3,000 meters in length and width. At this moment, the square was packed with people. These people were all eager to give it a try. Many of them were holding Zhang Qingxue's name list from the beginning. These lists all had different origins, but they all roughly pointed out the uniqueness of this Flower Appreciation Festival. The 9 Luminaries Golden Pill is a rare pill. Even if you have the herbs, you might not be able to refine it. That's right. Being able to help an earthly sovereign become a heavenly sovereign is enough to show how precious it is. Ji Wucheng, the 3rd preceptor of the 7 Fiends Hall of the Netherworld, and Ling Chongfeng, the junior sectmaster of the Heavenly Soul Sect, as well as the vice sectmaster of the Earthly Flame Heaven Burning Pavilion, the Archemperor, are all here for the gold 9 Luminaries Pill. Not necessarily. Compared to the 9 Luminaries Golden Pill, I am more curious about how beautiful the flower beauty in the 3rd round is. Ling Chongfeng also brought the number 1 beauty of the Tianhun sect, Mo Xianxian. I wonder who will be more beautiful when the 2 beauties meet. Lin Yu casually found a place to sit down. This square was connected to the bottom of the glazed moon stepping tower. It was the most spectacular place outside of the 3 main halls. At this moment, dozens of figures appeared in the sky. The people from the glazed moon stepping tower are here. It's the 3rd Tower Master, Hong Bing, and the 2nd Tower Master, Lu Yanqing. The 2 people leading the glazed moon stepping tower were the 2 Tower Masters who had fought with Lin Yu last night. Lin Yu touched his face. It was dark and windy yesterday, so they should not have seen his face clearly. In the middle of a battle, they would not have the time to use their divine consciousness to size him up. Thinking of this, Lin Yu was relieved. Since they could not help him, if he was suspected, he could just deny it. The other party would not easily take action against him, right? The 2nd Tower Master, Lu Yanqing, was at the front. The 3rd Tower Master, Hong Binglu was at the back. Dozens of female disciples of the glazed moon stepping tower were waiting for them. Lu Yanqing said, "It is my honor to have all of you here for the glazed moon stepping tower's flower appreciation festival." She looked down, and her gaze landed on Ling Chongfeng. This person's figure was similar to Lin Yu's. It was just that there was more frivolity between his eyebrows. Ling Chongfeng looked at the young lady beside him from time to time. This woman was dressed in a tight purple robe with a long skirt that reached the ground. At her willowy waist, there was an exquisite jade belt that accentuated her curvaceous figure. "Xian, do you think the second tower master is looking at senior brother?" Ling Chongfeng raised his eyebrows. Although Lu Yanqing had shifted her gaze away from him, Ling Chongfeng still felt that his charm was too great. Even the second tower master of the glazed moon stepping tower could not help but look at him a few more times. "No." Beside him, the young woman's face was ice cold as she said indifferently, "This person was the #1 beauty of the Tianhun sect, Mo Xian." Ling Chongfeng was speechless for a moment. Forget it. His target was the flower in the third round. In the sky, Lu Yanqing exchanged some pleasantries. Hong Binglu, who was behind her, went forward and said softly, "Senior sister, if we don't do anything, we won't be able to find that person." Hong Binglu nodded her head. She looked at Ling Chongfeng because his figure was similar to the thief from last night. However, after looking at a few more people, Lu Yanqing felt that there were quite a number of people who looked similar to Lin Yu among the thousands of people present. As Hong Binglu said, if they did not do anything, they would not be able to find out who the thief from last night was. Then, the first round of treasure appraisal begins. Lu Yanqing announced. She and Hong Binglu sat on the high platform in the square. Soon, a large area was cleared out below. The people in the square went to the periphery and found their seats. As Lin Yu was the first to sit down, he sat in the front row with the top forces like the Tianhun sect and the Earth Fire Burning Heaven Pavilion. As for the people behind them, they were from the smaller forces. There were about 3,000 people in total. Everyone's gaze fell on the center of the square. At this moment, one of the dozens of women took the lead and took a step forward. She was holding a plate made of glazed glory bot in her hand. The item on the plate was covered with brocade. This is the first item for today's treasure appraisal. In the seat of honor, Lu Yanqing's voice was heard. However, after waiting for a long time, no one from the glazed moon stepping tower took down the brocade. What does Tower Master mean? Yes, if you don't show it to us, how are we going to appraise the treasure? Lu Yanqing smiled faintly. She seemed to have an excuse when she heard these words. There's no need to look at the first treasure. We'll start the auction directly. 100 million glory bot. As soon as she said this, everyone was stunned. If you don't show it to us, we'll get someone to bid? I knew that this treasure appraisal is an auction. However, I didn't expect that you won't even show us what the treasure looks like. That's right. Isn't this a scam? While everyone was discussing, someone had already made a bid. Chapter 585. 100 million. A man in his early 20s suddenly spoke from a crowd. That man was the young master of the Tianhun sect, Ling Chongfeng. After Ling Chongfeng's words spread out, it attracted a lot of attention. Ling Chongfeng wanted to see if the second head of the Tianhun sect, the unreachable woman Lu Yanqing, would be attracted to him. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the sky. Lu Yanqing did indeed look over. The first treasure, the young master of the Tianhun sect, 100 million, going once. Her voice rang out. Although she did not call out Ling Chongfeng's name, the latter was already proud of himself. What are you doing? Why are you bidding for something you can't even see? At the side, the beautiful Mo Xian had a look of astonishment on her face. I'm here for the 9 luminaries golden pill. Before that, I have to build a good relationship with the Moonlight Tower. Ling Chongfeng casually added a few words, but Mo Xian glanced at him as if he was an idiot. Everyone present knew that in order to obtain a priceless treasure like the Navagraha golden pill, one had to first obtain it. The amount of glory bot one had to pay was immeasurable. Therefore, they would reserve their wealth and only fight for it when the golden pill appeared. But Ling Chongfeng was squandering his wealth so quickly. Don't worry, junior sister. My father gave me 500 billion glory baht. It's enough. Ling Chongfeng smiled proudly, not thinking that he had done something stupid. On the other side, the people from the other sects were also looking at the square strangely. That was the first thing covered by the brocade. This group of women just love to cover things up. I wonder what's inside. That's right. If it's a piece of scrap metal, we'll lose a lot of money if we bid for it. But if it's a treasure, we'll lose a lot too. It's so difficult. Let's wait and see. Ling Chongfeng, that idiot, is bidding. Did he see something? On the other side, the vice head of the Earthly Flame Pavilion, the Archemperor, was also looking at the brocade. He had already tried to check it with his divine sense, but it ended in failure. Someone had set up a divine sense defense array around the female disciple. It was impossible to see what was inside. He could forcefully break through the array, but that would definitely cause some commotion. This was equivalent to offending the glazed moon treading tower. Vice Pavilion Master, if what's inside is the 9 luminaries golden pill, wouldn't we suffer a huge loss? Behind him, a disciple of the earthly fire-burning pavilion warned him. Listen carefully. The Archemperor's face, which was already dark enough, was now even darker than before. That shouldn't be the case. The women of the Moonstep Tower have always prioritized profit. If no one bids for it, then the value of the 9 luminaries gold pill will be greatly reduced. Opposite them, the people from the 7 Fiends Hall of the Netherworld also fell into deep thought. The leader was Ji Wucheng, one of the hall masters of the 7 Demons Hall. This person's face was black and white, and even his hair was the same. He looked extremely terrifying. At this moment, Ji Wucheng, who was dressed in a long robe, was also staring at the first treasure in the female disciple's hand. Second Pavilion Master, I wonder if you can reveal some information about the first treasure? Ji Wucheng had come to the same conclusion as the Archemperor and the others. They were afraid that the women of the glazed moon treading tower would take things too hard and put the 9 luminaries golden pill inside. If they didn't bid for it, they would suffer a huge loss. No, Lu Yanqing didn't even look at Ji Wucheng. Instead, she announced a second time. 100 million, going twice. While everyone was hesitating, she was about to call out a third time. Below, Zhang Qingxue and the 10 Great Supremes were also discussing among themselves behind Lin Yu. After all, they had never heard of such a method of not showing it to anyone but auctioning it off. After seeing it with their own eyes, it was even harder for them to make a decision. Like the others, all the Supremes present had noticed the defensive formation around the female disciple. They couldn't see it with their divine perception. They could only observe it with their naked eyes like mortals and guess what it was. Master, should we bid too? Zhang Qingxue asked softly. Lin Yu had been drinking tea at the side. Zhang Qingxue and the others thought that Lin Yu didn't want to bid. However, she didn't notice that Lin Yu had been observing all along. He wasn't just observing the brocade, but also the expressions of the 2 pavilion masters. Interesting. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Just as Lu Yanqing was about to call out a third time, he raised Zhang Qingxue's hand. Miss, how much do you want to bid? Lu Yanqing looked over. When the rest of the people saw that there was a new bid, they all looked over at Lu Yanqing. Who's this little girl? I've never seen her before. Is she not from the Jade Silk world? She doesn't look like one. Let's see how much she's bidding. Ling Chongfeng and the others also looked over. She's competing with me? His gaze fell on Zhang Qingxue. Damn, what a beautiful girl. Ling Chongfeng immediately felt that it was fun again. I wonder how much you're bidding. Ling Chongfeng, will add 100 million more. He waved a fan in his hand and smiled faintly. His tone was extremely frivolous. However, Zhang Qingxue was stunned on the spot. Master, why did you raise my hand? Lin Yu smiled. I'm asking you to bid. Bid? How much? Zhang Qingxue swallowed her saliva. Although she was the 7th princess of the vast Moon Empire, it was the first time she was stared at by so many people. It was not that she had not experienced the scene of being worshipped. However, it was different this time. She was in the limelight. Didn't he say that he'll add 100 million more no matter how much you bid? Lin Yu touched his chin. Let's bid 10 billion then. After that, Zhang Qingxue was in a bad mood. 10 billion, but we still don't know what's under the brocade. Zhang Qingxue asked, as if she was asking for help. She was even more confused. Why didn't Lin Yu bid himself, but let her do it? I also want to keep a low profile. If 10 billion isn't enough, you can bid 50 billion. Lin Yu spoke again. His gaze was sincere. However, the 10 great supremes behind him were all stunned on the spot. You call this keeping a low profile? I'll be a fool if I believe you. 50 billion. Zhang Qingxue could not help but shout. Her original intention was to ask Lin Yu. However, when the others heard this sentence, they could only think of it as another meaning. 50 billion. She bid 50 billion. She's crazy. She doesn't even know what it is and dares to bid 50 billion. This woman must be a rich woman. I suddenly don't want to work hard. Zhang Qingxue knew that she had said something wrong and immediately covered her mouth. In the sky, the second tower master, Lu Yanqing, also looked at Zhang Qingxue with some surprise. Miss, you bid 50 billion going once. She would not confirm Zhang Qingxue's bid again. The rule of the Moonstep Tower was that one had to pay after bidding for something. No one dared to go back on their words, because those who did were already dead. Chapter 586. I'm not. Zhang Qingxue wanted to refute that she was just frightened by her master. However, Lin Yu was still drinking his tea, and he had already seen through the expressions of the two leaders. Seems like I'm right. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Lu Yanqing hit it well. However, the female disciples under her had already been exposed. They didn't show any surprise or ridicule Zhang Qingxue. Instead, they were a little surprised. This meant that the item in the brocade was extraordinary and worth the price. Otherwise, the people in the moon-stepping tower would be mocking Zhang Qingxue. On the contrary, it was the other sex who thought that Zhang Qingxue was a fool. Well, do you want to add another 100 million? Zhang Qingxue braced herself and saw that Lu Yanqing had called out for the second time. She knew that she couldn't go back on her words, so she could only look at Ling Chongfeng pleadingly. Ha! Didn't the young master of the Tianhun sect say that he would add 100 million no matter how much that girl bid? Now that he's admitted defeat, he doesn't dare to bid 50 billion. It seems that the Tianhun sect is just SOSO. I've long heard that Ling Chongfeng can't move when he sees a woman. It seems that he really lives up to his reputation. On the seats of the Tianhun sect, Ling Chongfeng's face was gloomy. He naturally didn't know Zhang Qingxue, and she was just an inexperienced young girl. Who would have thought that he would be screwed over after saying a few words? Senior brother, please think twice before you act. Mo Xian, who saw that Ling Chongfeng was about to bite the bullet, warned him coldly. These people from small sects don't need to leave any glory bot on the 9 luminaries golden pill, so they can naturally bid whatever they want. However, we're different. If we bid for the 9 luminaries golden pill without enough glory bot, even if you're the young master will be unhappy. Mo Xian used the name of the Tianhun sect's leader to pressure Ling Chongfeng again. Haha, I was just joking. Miss, you're so bold. I'm ashamed of myself. Ling Chongfeng's face was as ugly as it could be, but he still said something polite. Why are you so untrustworthy? Zhang Qingxue was a little angry. She was still waiting for someone to take the blame for her. Now, even Ling Chongfeng admitted defeat. Young Master Tianhun, you really can't do it. Little girl, don't trust men so easily in the future. No man's words can be trusted. Around the square, the people from the other forces of the Jade Silk Dao world also shouted. Ling Chongfeng felt that he could no longer maintain his composure. He immediately sneered and shouted at Zhang Qingxue. On the path of martial arts, the greatest taboo is to pretend to be capable when you don't have the ability. Although I said that I can't bid 50 billion in this blind auction, I'm also worried that you won't be able to take out 50 billion glory bot. 50 billion glory bot was naturally nothing to a top sect. However, there was nothing she could do about Zhang Qingxue. She snorted lightly and sat back down beside Lin Yu. Master, I can't get rid of her now. I didn't want to get rid of him either. Lin Yu felt helpless. At this moment, Lu Yanqing had already said it 3 times. The female disciple walked over and handed a brocaded wooden box to Zhang Qingxue. Zhang Qingxue looked troubled. Just as she was about to take out the few tens of billions of glory bot from her storage ring, Lin Yu was 1 step ahead of her. A ray of light flashed across his storage ring. 50 billion glory bot has been entrusted. The female disciple bowed and shouted. On the other side, Ling Chongfeng's gaze was fixed on them. So, it was the stinky brat beside her who paid for it. Good fellow, he actually dared to embarrass me. He had already seen the details from Lin Yu's actions. The 50 billion glory bot had been given by Lin Yu. Master! Zhang Qingxue was stunned for a moment. Lin Yu had already opened the brocaded box. There was a brocaded box inside. The moon-stepping tower has packaged it quite well. Lin Yu smiled helplessly. In the seat of honor, Lu Yanqing and Hong Binglu, the 2 tower masters, were also suspicious when they saw the young man who had spoken. Senior sister, this brat looks a little like the thief from last night, Hong Binglu said softly. Lu Yanqing nodded her head. Let's take a look. It's a pity that this brat has taken advantage of us. Hong Binglu smiled. It's all right. The items later will definitely bring us greater profits. I hope so. Lu Yanqing nodded her head. As she spoke, she saw Lin Yu opening the brocaded box. There was a small hairpin on it. The hairpin was extremely exquisite. However, it looked like an ordinary item. Oh no, master. We have made a loss. Zhang Qingxue said helplessly. Although the glory bot was paid by Lin Yu, her heart ached for it. The first treasure had greatly aroused everyone's curiosity. When Lin Yu took it out, everyone's attention was focused on it. A woman's accessory. Could it be something left behind by a female disciple from the moon-stepping tower? It seems like this brat has made a loss. Like I said, the moon-stepping tower would never make a loss. How could they make a profit from this blind auction? Little girl, this hairpin is pretty. Let me do you a favor and take it for 20 glory bot. What do you think? Haha, you're too much. How can a mortal's hairpin be worth 20 glory bot? I think it's worth 5 glory bot. Everyone was discussing. On the Tianhun sec seat, Mo Xianxian was also sweating. Senior, it's fortunate that you didn't continue to snatch it. Otherwise, we would be the ones at loss. I already knew that there was nothing good inside. Do you think I'm stupid? Although Ling Chongfeng said this, after his voice fell, he let out a long sigh of relief. Damn it, I almost made a fool of myself just now. Zhang Qingxue and the 10 great supremes couldn't lift their heads when they saw everyone laughing at them. Only the young man in front of them was still admiring the item that he had bought. He had spent 50 billion glory bot on a mortal hairpin. It's not a loss. It's good stuff. Lin Yu took out the hairpin. No matter what, this hairpin was only a mortal item. It couldn't be considered a priceless treasure. Lin Yu wasn't wrong about the pearl at the very top. Are you satisfied? Lu Yanqing asked from afar. Her gaze fell on Lin Yu. The more she looked, the more she felt that he looked like the person who had fought with her last night. Haha, the Moonstep Tower has learned to hit someone when they're down? Interesting. You spent 50 billion glory bot on a broken hairpin, and now you're asking if he's satisfied. I like this second master. However, Lin Yu was playing with the hairpin in his hand. This thing is not bad. I'm very satisfied. He looked around. I wonder if anyone here likes it. I can give it to you. Who wants it? It's just a broken hairpin. 5 glory bot. I can't give you more. That's a pity. Lin Yu was ridiculed, but he smiled faintly. Since you don't want a hairpin made of the 3 lives glass pearl, I can only keep it for myself. Chapter 587. As soon as Lin Yu said that, the others who were still mocking him for being rich were stunned when they heard the words 3 lives colored glass pearl. 3 lives colored glass pearl. Could it be the legendary 3 lives colored glass pearl that only appears once in 1,000 years? How? How could they embed the 3 lives colored glass pearl on that broken hairpin? Impossible. The Moonlight Tower would never do that. If it's really the 3 lives colored glass pearl, it's worth at least 50 billion. Lin Yu was still playing with the hairpin in his hand. He did not seem to care about the changing gazes around him. Young master, you have good eyesight. You could tell at a glance that it's the 3 lives colored glass pearl produced in the recent 1,000 years. At the seat of honor, Lu Yanqing looked at Lin Yu with admiration. She asked again, "How did you tell?" "I made a wild guess." Lin Yu smiled. He did not seem to have the intention to answer her. Seeing this, Lu Yanqing thought to herself, how can this kid be so arrogant after getting such a good deal? Second house master, I wonder if this kid is telling the truth? That's right. We've only heard of the 3 lives colored glass pearl in rumors. Could the pearl and the hairpin really be such a treasure? The people below were already in an uproar. They were doubtful and regretful. They threw out questions one after another. That's right. It's the 3 lives colored glass pearl produced in the recent 1,000 years. Lu Yanqing smiled. As soon as she finished speaking, the entire place was in an uproar. The earthly fire-burning pavilion, Tianhun sect, 7 demons hall of the netherworld, and the other small sects gasped and looked at Lin Yu. There was envy and jealousy in their eyes. There was also greed. At this moment, many of them had already started to judge Lin Yu's strength. A man's wealth was his own ruin by causing others greed. Those without strength might not be able to keep their treasures even if they obtained them. Out of goodwill, the Moonlight Tower placed the 3 lives colored glass pearl at the top of the list for everyone to bid blindly. I didn't expect this young man to know his stuff. Lu Yanqing spoke again. On the surface, she was praising Lin Yu. In reality, it vaguely reminded the others. The later treasure appraisals will be held alternately in the form of a physical auction and a blind auction. I wonder if everyone has the same eyesight as this young man. Lin Yu smiled. He seemed to be sizing up the 3 lives colored glass bead, but in truth he was looking in several other directions around the plaza. These people were all women. Moreover, they seemed to be from other small sections. However, Lin Yu, who had been trapped for 100,000 years, knew that they were all female disciples of the glazed moon-treading tower. To be more precise, they were hired. They were here to raise the auction price. Senior sister, this kid is definitely not guessing. Our people just wanted a bid, but they were scared back by his 50 billion. Hong Binglu spoke again, staring at Lin Yu warily. At the same time, he looked at the female disciples who were walking around the square with their heads lowered. Originally, he had no intention of selling the 3 lives colored glass bead. After all, such a supreme treasure was worth no less than 100 billion. However, they never expected that someone would be able to bid 50 billion baht. The female disciples who wanted to bid for 50 billion did not dare to bid at all. This was because they did not have 50 billion baht in their hands. Ask them to come back and give them more baht. Lu Yanqing was still smiling at the crowd. She was showing the magnanimity of a top sect. However, her heart was bleeding at this moment. That brat had taken advantage of her for nothing. In that case, I'll give each of them another 100 billion to raise the price and make up for the loss by cheating others. Hong Binglu said coldly. Lu Yanqing nodded. Go ahead. Master, did we really find a treasure? Zhang Qingxue still could not believe it. She looked at the hairpin and could not find any clues at all. Since the second house master has said so, how can it be fake? Ah, little girl, you have good eyesight. In the seat of honor. While Hong Binglu was making new preparations, Lu Yanqing's gaze fell on Lin Yu again. Since young master has obtained the treasure, I wonder if you can see the mystery of my 3 lives colored glass bead? Everyone looked at Lin Yu and was curious about his answer. However, Lin Yu smiled. What's so mysterious about this? He played with it in his hands. I just took it out to sell, but no one wanted it. After that, Lu Yanqing's delicate face turned red again. She did not expect Lin Yu to be looking down on them after spoiling their auction plan. The others, on the other hand, had already recalled that Lin Yu had asked them if they wanted it. Young master, please don't blame us. Our eyesight is not good enough. How can we see the mystery of the hairpin? Yeah, why don't you take it out to auction now? Since everyone knows that it's 3 lives colored glass bead, they won't be stingy with their baht. I heard that the 3 lives colored glass bead was originally a top-grade pearl. It was then nurtured by the 3 house masters with a special skill of the Moonstep House for 1,000 years. The color glass bead not only absorbed the complementary skills of the three house masters, but also the comprehension of the three house masters' supreme will. It's worth at least 100 billion. While the crowd was discussing, they thought that Lin Yu intended to give up the three lives color glass bead. Someone immediately shouted around the square. The Sun God sect offers 100 billion. I hope this young master can give it up. 100 billion is too petty. I'm Shonba from the World Society. I'm willing to offer 200 billion. I'm Guan Chong, the leader of the Frost Forest. I'm willing to offer 300 billion. The crowd called out their bids one after another. It happened so fast that even Zhang Qingxue and the 10 great supreme masters beside Lin Yu did not expect it. The person who was mocking Lin Yu for buying a lousy hairpin a moment ago had changed. However, the young man in front of them was unmoved. He did not hear them at all. I don't want to sell it now. He raised his hand and put the hairpin inlaid with the three lives colored glass bead on Zhang Qingxue's head. It's pretty. Lin Yu smiled casually and continued drinking his tea. On the other hand, Zhang Qingxue's heart was already beating wildly because of his actions. She did not refuse any gifts. In the past, many princes and young masters from various sects had given her gifts to get close to her. However, none of them could compare to the three lives color glass bead, which was worth more than 300 billion. However, it was different this time. Not only was the gift extremely valuable, but so many people were looking at her. Lin Yu's casual action made Zhang Qingxue feel that she was the happiest woman in the world. Isn't it a waste to use the three lives color glass bead as an accessory? That's right. Young master, why don't you think about it again? Lin Yu ignored these people. Even Lu Yanqing, who was watching from above, was stunned by what she saw. Chapter 588. Although Zhang Qingxue was the one who made the bid, she could see clearly that Zhang Qingxue was just a servant of Lin Yu. The one who saw the preciousness of the colored glass pearl and took out 50 billion to buy it was this young man. There's a knife above the word lust. This brat is actually so generous. He is much more generous than the young master of Tianhun's sect, Ling Chongfeng. Forget about Ling Chongfeng. He didn't even dare to bid 50 billion just now. If he wasn't bluffing and really dared to bid lower than that young lady, he would be the one in the limelight now. Compared to that young man, Ling Chongfeng is a little ugly. In the Heavenly Soul Sect's seating area, Ling Chongfeng's face was livid with anger. Senior, Mo Xianxian frowned. She felt that it was better not to say anything now in case this young master pushed the blame to her. Now, please take a look at the second treasure. On the throne, Lu Yanqing had been defeated by Lin Yu twice. She even let Lin Yu steal the limelight. She couldn't be bothered to delay any longer. When the voice was heard, the female disciple had already taken out the second treasure. This time, she didn't bid blindly. It was a pair of flying fairy shoes that could increase one's speed. However, the workmanship was better than the pair that Lin Yu had thrown away at the low-key sect. After the other people bid, Lin Yu wasn't interested at all. He had been observing that the few people from a Moonstep Tower had lowered their heads and looked terrible. Lin Yu also noticed that Hong Binglu had just left for a while. It seems that they are in a bad mood now that I have exposed their old tricks. Lin Yu smiled faintly, although it was his first time at the Flower Appreciation Festival. In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he had died more than 200 times before he finally found the right way to chat with Lu Yanqing on the bed. It was also at that time that Lu Yanqing told Lin Yu about the Moonstep Tower's treasure appraisal tricks. Counting the time, it had been almost 1,000 years since the formation of the three lives colored glass bead. Therefore, Lin Yu made a move without hesitation. Only he could use this information that others didn't know to counter the glazed moon-treading tower. At the side, Zhang Qingxue felt the taste of happiness. She also obediently fed Lin Yu tea and fresh fruits. Master, thank you. Lin Yu didn't say anything, but he found it funny. This was because the third, fifth, and 7 treasures were also auctioned blindly. Because he missed the three lives colored glass bead. These people had already formed a wishful thinking when it came to blind auctions. Naturally, they did not hold back in their bids. The third item, in particular, was sold for a high price of 200 billion. It was a pity that it was only a beginner Saint grade 8 combinations Immortal Cup. The price was only around 30 billion, and the bidder was Ling Chongfeng. Lin Yu didn't care about these small fries. However, Zhang Qingxue noticed that Ling Chongfeng's face was even paler than before. As for the last two items, they were sold for 150 billion and 100 billion respectively. Naturally, the items inside would not be any better than the 3 Lives color glass bead. However, the others still held on to their wishful thinking and fell into the traps set by the glazed moon treading tower. Lin Yu didn't care about this. After all, it wasn't his money. Finally, there was only one female disciple left in the square. This female disciple was extremely beautiful. Lin Yu felt that she should have a rating of more than 8 points. No wonder he had a feeling of déjà vu. I believe everyone has been waiting for the last treasure for a long time. Lu Yanqing opened her mouth slightly. She looked like an ordinary person in her early 20s, but her actual age was more than 1,000 years old. At this moment, Lu Yanqing's charming voice was heard. The last treasure, 9 luminaries golden pill. The brocade box on the plate in the female disciple's hand flew up instantly. The brocade box opened in the air. On top of it was a golden pill that emitted a 9-colored light. The pill is dark gold with 9 colors. That's right. This is the 9 luminaries golden pill. Legend has it that the refining process of the 9 luminaries golden pill is as difficult as ascending the heavens. In the entire jade silk world, only the glazed moon-treading tower's 9-colored flame has the chance to refine it. It is indeed extraordinary. It can increase the chances of becoming a heavenly sovereign. The Tianhun sect must get this pill. Mo Xian gritted her teeth and said. Her eyes were filled with greed. He wasn't the only one. The Arch-Emperor of the earthly fire-burning pavilion and the black-faced Ji Wucheng were also eager to try. Lu Yanqing saw that these people were like demonic beasts that had been starving for a long time. They were ready to make a move at any time. She smiled. The 9 luminaries golden pill starts at 200 billion. Let's begin. Many people could only watch from the sidelines. 200 billion obsidian baht was not something a small sect could take out. 300 billion. Ji Wucheng of the Netherworld's 7 Demons Hall said coldly. 350 billion. The Arch-Emperor's tall figure sat up straight. A thunderous voice sounded. Senior brother, it's our turn. Mo Xian reminded him. However, Ling Chongfeng was a little sullen. Junior sister, how much money do you have left? Sigh. Mo Xian was helpless. When Ling Chongfeng bid for the second item, she had already thought of this moment. I still have 500 billion. If senior brother uses it, remember to return it to me. Mo Xian warned. Junior sister, you actually have so much money. Ling Chongfeng was overjoyed. He raised his hand and shouted, I bid 500 billion. There were only a few people who could continue bidding. Only the earthly fire-burning pavilion and the Netherworld 7 Fiends Hall were left. Ji Wucheng looked over. The person behind him sneered. It seems like this spoiled brat came prepared. 600 billion. Ji Wucheng nodded and said again. The Arch-Emperor snorted coldly. This is a waste of time. Everyone, let's be straightforward. I can bid 800 billion. It's your turn. After the Arch-Emperor bid, the entire place fell silent. Earthly fire-burning pavilion. Vice Pavilion Leader Arch-Emperor bids 800 billion. Going once. Lu Yanqing's voice sounded. In her heart, the 9 luminaries golden pill should be worth a little more. Hee, the earthly fire-burning pavilion is indeed rich. As expected of a top-tier sect, Lu Yanqing praised with a smile that didn't look like a smile. How could Ling Chongfeng be convinced after hearing this? I bid 850 billion. Anyone who can bid more than me, come. Everyone could tell that this was a common tactic used by auctions. Young Master Ling is domineering. 850 billion. Going once. Lu Yanqing also praised him. Ji Wucheng's black and white face darkened. 900 billion. Hearing this, Ling Chongfeng gritted his teeth. Ji Wucheng, are you deliberately going against me? Only those who can win, Ji Wuchang smiled. Seeing that the Arch-Emperor and Ling Chongfeng were no longer arrogant, he said, "Seems like the 9 luminaries' golden pill is mine." However, from the other side of the plaza, a lazy voice sounded. 1 trillion. Chapter 589. 1 trillion. As soon as this voice came out, it immediately attracted everyone's attention. 1 trillion. Who could be so generous? Especially Ji Wuchang, who was the last to bid. His face turned cold. They looked in the direction of the voice. It was a young man who was casually sipping his tea. The young man's face showed no signs of emotion. However, he was the one who had spoken of 1 trillion gold coins. Him again. This person is not simple. At their seats, even Liu Yanqing and Hong Binglu were shocked by Lin Yu's second attack. This was Lin Yu's second bid today. The first time, he got the 3 Lives Pearl for a cheap price of 50 billion. The second time, he beat Ji Wuchang's bid with 1 trillion glory bot. Ji Wuchang was not the only one he beat. The Arch-Emperor of the Earthly Fire Pavilion, Ling Chongfeng of the Tianhun sect, and Mo Xianxian. "Senior brother, we don't have enough glory bot," Mo Xianxian said in a low voice, staring at Lin Yu warily. "The glazed moon-treading tower doesn't allow credit, so we can only bid with the glory bot we have now. Otherwise, how can I lose to him?" Ling Chongfeng gritted his teeth and gave up after a cold snort. However, this was the second time Lin Yu beat him in the limelight. Ling Chongfeng even felt that the reason he bought the second treasure at a loss was because of Lin Yu. He had lost his judgment. Therefore, this debt, Ling Chongfeng counted it on Lin Yu. Of course, Lin Yu didn't care about this. He just continued to drink his tea. He wanted to keep a low profile, but the surrounding people didn't allow it. "Kid, are you sure you have so much glory bot?" "Yeah, don't be so pretentious. The glazed moon-treading tower is not to be trifled with. I remember that the grass on the grave of the person who didn't pay last time is taller than me now." Many people questioned Lin Yu. On the other side, Ji Wuchang, whose bid had been suppressed by Lin Yu, also looked over coldly. "Do you really want to compete with me?" Ji Wuchang's words were filled with killing intent in front of so many people. As soon as the killing intent appeared, the 10 great supremes around Zhang Qingxue and Lin Yu immediately became vigilant. In other people's eyes, Lin Yu was only followed by 10 law realm cultivators and a young lady. Naturally, they didn't know that these 10 people were all supremes. Otherwise, even Ji Wuchang would have to think twice before speaking. However, Lin Yu looked over with a smile. "I've already bid. If you're not trying to rob me, then what are you trying to do?" He didn't care about Ji Wuchang's killing intent at all. "I can give you a chance. After all, you can still go back on your word before the dust settles. If you really don't have the money, you can leave now, and I'll forgive you," Ji Wuchang said in a righteous manner. Everyone knew what he meant. He was giving Lin Yu a way out of this embarrassing situation. "Kid, anyone who offends Ji Wuchang will die. Yeah, take it easy. Even if you have the glory bait, you won't be alive to enjoy the 9 luminaries' golden pill." Everyone warned Lin Yu. "Master, what should we do?" Zhang Qingxue asked nervously. After all, this wasn't their territory. Even if they had the 10 great supremes with them, they would still be in an extremely dangerous situation if they became enemies with the whole world. Continue bidding, of course. Lin Yu put down the teacup in his hand. Since they wouldn't allow him to make a low-key bid, he would have to make it more high-profile. 1 trillion. If you're willing to bid higher than me, feel free to bid, Lin Yu said indifferently. Although his tone was calm, it was filled with a murderous intent. It was even fiercer than Ji Wuchang's. Seeing this, the chattering people all shut their mouths. Even if it was the 3 most powerful forces. Neither the Arch-Emperor nor Ling Chongfeng said anything. Only Ji Wuchang smiled faintly and said, "Hee hee, looks like you've made up your mind. Fine, I'll let you have a Navagraha golden pill. However, you must take good care of it. Not everyone is qualified to have such a treasure." Lin Yu had put him in an awkward position, so how could he possibly let Lin Yu off the hook so easily? He knew that with the Arch-Emperor, Ling Chongfeng, and the others, there was another way to get the 9 luminaries golden pill. Obviously, He couldn't compete with Lin Yu in terms of glory bait. However, considering the people he had brought with him, it was hard to say whether or not Lin Yu would be able to get the 9 luminaries golden pill out of here alive. What's the point of blabbering so much? Lin Yu said impatiently. Either you raise the price, or... Arching an eyebrow at Lu Yanqing, Lin Yu continued, Tower Lord Lu, can we start the countdown now? How arrogant. Even if the kid is rich, he shouldn't be so rude to Ji Wuchang. You have to know that either tomorrow or an accident can come first. He's still too young. If Ji Wuchang makes a move privately, he won't have any glory bait left. Everyone else was convinced that Lin Yu was facing imminent catastrophe. Zhang Qingxue and the others still had faith in Lin Yu's decision. In fact, when had the 10 great paragons ever suffered such humiliation from the mockery of the other sex? If they try to make a move, emissary, can we kill them? One of the paragons asked in a voice Lin Yu could hear. Just don't break their rings of holding. Lin Yu replied casually. His tone was extremely calm. But we are reasonable people. The 10 paragons had assumed that he would be soft-hearted. However, Lin Yu continued, if they don't make a move, we won't make a move either. However, if they make a move first, we'll eliminate them completely. We won't be tainted by karma. The 10 paragons felt a chill down their spines. They hadn't expected a 15 or 16-year-old youth to say such harsh words. I still don't know your name, Lu Yanqing asked. Zhang Qingxue and the 10 paragons looked grave. Lu Yanqing naturally noticed this unusual detail. Could it be that you can't tell us your name? Why can't I tell you? I'm a righteous person. Lu Yanqing had just finished her sentence when Lin Yu interrupted her. I'm Qin Wunyan from Songling Dao World. Lin Yu answered naturally. Qin Wunyan. Lu Yanqing smiled faintly. She couldn't recall such a person from Songling Dao World. It was impossible for her to know everyone from Songling Dao World. However, the younger generation who had a wealth of 1 trillion was destined to be in the limelight of Sky Desert Universe. Logically speaking, she should have heard of him. In that case, Mr. Qin Wunyan bids 1 trillion. Going once. Chapter 590. 1 trillion going once. Lu Yanqing announced. Ji Wuchang's face darkened as he clenched his fists. However, he was embarrassed by his storage ring and did not dare to lower the price. He only had slightly more than 900 billion in total. It was not more than 1 trillion. The Archemperor was already slightly inferior to Ji Wuchang. As for Ling Chongfeng, he did not have 1 trillion even after adding up Mo Xianqian's glory bot. However, Mo Xianqian was looking at Zhang Qingxue, who was beside Lin Yu. She was serving Lin Yu attentively. At the same time, Lin Yu looked like he was enjoying himself. If he's a lecher, then things will be easy. Mo Xianqian's jade-like hands lightly brushed the hair on her temples. She thought that she had thought of a good idea. 9 luminaries golden pill, 1 trillion going twice. Everyone was silent. 9 luminaries golden pill, 1 trillion going thrice. Lu Yanqing knew that this price was not bad. The chances of someone else bidding were very low. Moreover, the 3 most powerful people had chosen to remain silent. Who else could be Lin Yu's match? Deal. Congratulations, young Master Qin Wunyan. Lu Yanqing smiled faintly. She waved her hand, and the female disciple walked forward with the brocade box. The box emitted the dazzling radiance of the 9 luminaries golden pill. This radiance attracted everyone's attention. When the beautiful female disciple arrived in front of Lin Yu, a beam of light shot up into the sky from his storage ring. 1 trillion. Only 1 trillion glory bot would have such a terrifying radiance. This kid is not simple. He actually has so many glory bot. Where did he come from? The Songling Dao World is a place where the 100 dynasties are in conflict. The people there usually do not interact with the other Dao worlds. I did not expect such a powerful person to appear there. Thank you, young master. The female disciple counted the 1 trillion glory bot. After confirming that the amount was correct, she bowed and winked at Lin Yu. At this time, Lin Yu was sure that he had indeed slept with her, pretending to be a rich second-generation heir. This is the 9 luminaries golden pill. Young master, please keep it. The female disciple stretched out her hand, and when Lin Yu took it, he was gently provoked by her jade-like hand. Weak and delicate, the women of the glazed moon treading tower clearly had their own way of subduing men. Young master, if you have time in the future, you can come and find me often. The female disciple chuckled sweetly. Lin Yu's current appearance was still that of General Yang in the vast Moon Empire. The female disciple only felt that Lin Yu was handsome and rich. She didn't need any tactful means and directly invited Lin Yu. Miss, please respect yourself. Zhang Qingxue was the closest to Lin Yu, so she naturally heard the female disciple's words clearly. I can review it when I have time. Lin Yu smiled casually. Master, Zhang Qingxue was so angry that her body bulged. On the other hand, the female disciple in front of him was stunned. Revisiting, could it be that this man had already she thought for a while, but couldn't remember which one it was? Then I'll wait for young master's arrival. The female disciple knew that it wasn't appropriate for her to say more, so she stood up. Tower master, I've received the dazzling bait. Very good. Lu Yanqing nodded. She was worried that Lin Yu might have made a random bid. Now that Lin Yu could take out 1 trillion, it was naturally the best. It would save the moon treading tower from doing it personally. Today's treasure appraisal is over. Tomorrow will be the second round of the Flower Appreciation Festival, the martial arts competition. Everyone must be tired, so please rest for the night. We'll continue tomorrow. Lu Yanqing raised her hand and said. After that, the Sexan forces in the square greeted each other and left one after another. Lin Yu kept the 9 dazzling golden pill and stood up. The 10 great supremes on him prepared to leave at the same time. Young master, please wait. Lu Yanqing landed and appeared in front of Lin Yu. She was wearing an exquisite Taoist robe, and her hair was casually scattered behind her back. Her appearance was comparable to the female disciple just now. On the contrary, Lu Yanqing had the confidence of a mature woman. That was the aura that she had developed after being in a high position for a long time. What's the matter? Seeing that she was stopping him, Lin Yu thought to himself, could it be that I've been recognized? Behind Lu Yanqing, the 3rd Tower Master, Hong Binglu, was sizing up Lin Yu. 3rd Tower Master, you seem to have some thoughts about me? Lin Yu curled his lips. Although he was worried that he would be recognized, he still looked calm and composed. No one could tell that there was anything wrong with him. Young master, you're right. I feel that you look like someone. I wonder if you recognize us? Hong Binglu laughed. Her voice was naturally not as pleasant as Lu Yanqing's, and it sounded like an old cow snoring. This person was a tough woman, and Lin Yu didn't like her at all. How can I not recognize the 3rd Tower Master and 2nd Tower Master of the glazed moon-treading tower? Lin Yu smiled disdainfully. His tone seemed to be saying that this was a stupid question. When Hong Binglu wanted to ask again, Lin Yu had already walked toward Lu Yanqing. I like to talk to beautiful women. Moreover, I will answer their questions. 2nd Tower Master, do you have any questions for me? Lin Yu curled his lips and spoke nonchalantly. You. Hong Binglu was furious. Was he saying that she was not beautiful? Looking at Lin Yu, she realized that he was half a head taller than Lu Yanqing. Even with her tall figure, she had to look up slightly to meet Lin Yu's gaze when the two of them got closer. Since young master does not wish to answer, we will not ask further, Lu Yanqing said with a faint smile. She did not intend to argue with Lin Yu. Instead, she bowed and thanked him. We will kindly accept your 1 trillion glory bot. If I can make a beauty smile, so what if it is 1 trillion glory bot? Lin Yu looked frivolous. It seemed that he even dared to tease the 2nd Tower Master of the glazed moon-treading tower. When the crowd saw this, they felt that Lin Yu was courting death. On the other hand, Lu Yanqing looked surprised. This person's demeanor was different from that of those lecherous men. Lu Yanqing felt that under Lin Yu's gaze, she felt a kind of favor from a superior. Her instincts told her that if she were to reject Lin Yu, she would not know what was good for her. Young master, I'm really tempted by your words. Lu Yanqing rarely said such words. However, when she was facing Lin Yu, she blurted it out subconsciously. Even Hong Binglu, who was at the side, was stunned. Didn't she say that she wanted to test this lad to see if he was the thief from last night? Why were the two of them flirting? Lin Yu smiled. If the second Tower Master does not have any other questions, I will take my leave. He reminded her again. Oh yes, I know that the glazed moon-treading tower does not guarantee anything other than the Flower Appreciation Festival. If people from other forces touch me, Lu Yanqing thought that Lin Yu wanted her to protect him. However, Lin Yu said, I hope that the glazed moon-treading tower will not interfere. Chapter 591. Young Master, aren't you worried about them? When Lu Yanqing saw that Lin Yu was bold and handsome, she couldn't help but remind him, in this world, you can't dominate just because you have the glory bait. You also need to have combat power and background. Only when all these factors are added together can you determine a person's strength. She didn't say explicitly, but everyone knew that Lin Yu had offended someone today. Ling Chongfeng of the Tianhun sect was slapped in the face by Zhang Qingshue's bid of 50 billion. Ji Wuchang of the Seven Demons Hall of the Netherworld's final bid was suppressed by Lin Yu. The Nine Luminaries' golden pill was gone just like that. These two would definitely deal with Lin Yu. As for the Arch-Emperor of the Earthly Fire Heaven-Burning Pavilion, he didn't clash with Lin Yu. Perhaps he was still observing. The Moonstep Tower only needs to stay out of this. Qin Wunyan has his own plans for the rest. After saying that, Lin Yu took his leave. Senior sister, seeing Lin Yu leave the square, Hong Binglu went up and whispered, Ji Wuchang is following him. Since that kid is so confident, let him go. Lu Yanqing's bright, red lips curled up. Little thing, you're quite bold. No one knew if she was referring to not giving face to Ji Wuchang or Lin Yu's frivolity towards her. Should we send someone to check it out? No need. The Moonstep Tower doesn't know anything about the conflicts of other sections. I understand. After leaving the square of the Moonstep Tower, Lin Yu and the rest went back to their residence. After a while, the disciples of the Moonstep Tower were no longer behind them. This place was no longer under the watchful eyes of the Moonstep Tower. Emissary, those people seem to be waiting for us. The 10 Supremes noticed that there were people blocking their way, and there were many spectators behind them. Lin Yu smiled disapprovingly. He was well aware of why these people were blocking his way. They're finally here. A cold voice sounded in front of Lin Yu. It was Ji Wuchang of the Seven Fiends Hall of the Netherworld. Behind him were the people from the Seven Fiends Hall of the Netherworld, as well as the Arch-Emperor Ling Chongfeng and Mo Xianxian. Master, should we go in another direction? Zhang Qingxue nervously grabbed Lin Yu's sleeve when she saw the group of ferocious people blocking their way. Master is a reasonable person. It's all right. Lin Yu smiled faintly. His gaze landed on their hands. It was good that they all had storage rings. Since he had snatched away the Navagraha golden pill in front of everyone, he had already expected that it would be snatched away. An ordinary man's wealth is his own ruin. It seemed reasonable, but in fact, it was the most unreasonable. In this world, there was no reason to speak of. Qin Wunyan, you've made us wait. Do you know why we're here? The corners of Ji Wuchang's mouth curled up as he stared at Lin Yu, as if he was looking at a dead man. His tongue swept past his lips, and his half-black, half-white face was filled with a strange expression. He knew that before Lin Yu had left, he had spoken to Lu Yanqing. Ji Wuchang didn't even need to guess and know that Bai Xiaochun had been looking for reinforcements. As of this moment, Lin Yu was the only one with him. Not a single person from the Moonlight Illumination Pavilion could be seen. That could only mean that Ji Wuchang's plan to seek reinforcements had been a mistake. Neither Lu Yanqing nor Hong Binglu from the Moonlight Illumination Pavilion paid any attention to him. Lin Yu stopped in place. Instead of responding to Ji Wuchang's question, he looked over at the group of people behind him. The heaven-burning pavilion of earthly fire. People from the Heavenly Soul sect. Just like Ji Wuchang, were you waiting for me? His lips curled into a faint smile, and his voice was calm and composed, as if he weren't nervous at all about being targeted by powerful experts. Listen up. The Arch-Emperor and Ling Chongfeng exchanged a glance, then chuckled coldly. Sire, you have precious treasures on you. the Archemperor said. We were just curious to see what the Navagraha golden pill and the 3 live celestial pearl were like. Lin Yu didn't hold back. If you know what's good for you, kid, hand over the Navagraha golden pill and 3 lives celestial pearl. Perhaps we'll spare your life. Zhang Qingxue and the 10 paragons' expressions turned grim. It seems today's battle is unavoidable. A bunch of reckless fools. The 10 paragons were the emperors of 100 dynasties. How could they possibly accept such humiliation? Don't tell me you only want my Navagraha golden pill and 3 lives celestial pearl, and not my obsidian bot? Lin Yu smiled and took off his ring of holding. It's all here. If you want it, come and get it. This scene attracted everyone's attention. That kid actually has obsidian bot? How is he so rich? Can't the wealth of our sex compare to his? The Navagraha golden pill, which could increase the chances of an Earth Supreme breaking through to the Sky Supreme level. The 3 lives celestial pearl, which contained the insights of the 3 sect masters over 1,000 years. And then there was Lin Yu's obsidian bot. And now, Lin Yu was toying with it, especially when he said, if you want it, come and get it. It was a temptation and a provocation. Is this kid tricking us? Ji Wuchang stared at Lin Yu warily. He couldn't see through Lin Yu's divine will, but the cultivation he displayed was only at the first level of the laws. Ji Wuchang sized up Zhang Qingxue and the 10 paragons again. Zhang Qingxue's cultivation was at the second level of the laws, and the 10 paragons only had the aura of the laws. Kid, it seems like you want to die. Ji Wuchang sneered. With your lineup, an Earth Supreme is enough to suppress you. How dare you be so arrogant? Lin Yu ignored him, and there was no nervousness on his face. Seeing this, the more Ji Wuchang thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. But Lin Yu didn't want to waste time on him. Raising his foot, he actually took the storage ring that everyone was chasing after like a flock of ducks and spun it on his fingertips as he walked towards the crowd alone. There, the 2 groups of people from the earthly fire-burning pavilion and the Tianhun sect stared at the storage ring so hard that their eyeballs almost fell out. This kid is too arrogant. We have to teach him a lesson. Everyone knows that treasures can't be shown in front of others, but does this kid think we're dead? I can't take it anymore. Snatch it. Ji Wuchang was furious. The humiliation of being suppressed by Lin Yu with wealth outside the square burst out at this moment. Leave no one alive. Yes. The 7 fiends hall of the netherworld attacked at the same time and rushed toward Lin Yu. Among them, only Ji Wuchang was an Earth Supreme, and the others were all experts of the laws. However, Lin Yu was still walking leisurely and didn't even look at them. Kill Qin Wenyan first and take his storage ring. We can kill the others slowly. That stinky girl is pretty enough. Don't kill her later. Leave her alive for us brothers to have some fun. Hall Master should have fun first. After Hall Master Wuchang enjoys it, it will be our turn. It's fine. You guys go first. The people from the 7 Fiends Hall of the Netherworld had ferocious eyes and were extremely fast. In an instant, they were already in front of Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu still didn't stop and just said, Number 9. Chapter 592. But as soon as his voice rang out, the figure behind him that Lin Yu had given the name Number 9 suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Lin Yu. He raised his hands and directly pressed down on the 2 people closest to Lin Yu from the 7 Fiend Hall. One head in each hand, directly pressed down. The 2 people had never seen such speed and tyrannical strength. His original movement technique suddenly lost its balance. In a situation where he couldn't react at all, he was already smashed down by that hand. Rumble. 2 large craters appeared on the ground, and blood splattered. So strong. 2 first-layered heavens of the laws were actually killed in an instant. Lin Yu didn't even look at the 2 corpses on the ground as he slowly walked past. You have some skills. Ji Wuchang's eyes were scarlet. He hid behind the rest of the 7 Fiends Hall and suddenly attacked Lin Yu. Number 8. However, Lin Yu's voice rang out again. In an instant, one of the 10 Supremes attacked again, and in the blink of an eye, he was already beside Lin Yu. Ji Wuchang's palm struck toward Lin Yu. The palm force stirred up a strong wind, but before it could hit Lin Yu, it was blocked halfway. It was also a palm force, and it met Ji Wuchang's palm. Bang, bang, bang. The two Supremes' wills collided, and rocks flew everywhere. Everyone within a radius of several hundred feet felt the aftershocks of the battle. The weaker, first-layered heavens of the laws were injured by the aftershocks because they were too close, and some even spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Ji Wuchang's eyes widened. He couldn't be wrong. Impossible, this person's battle strength is actually at the Earth Supreme level. Lin Yu had already passed by him, and Ji Wuchang knew that he couldn't continue fighting. Otherwise, behind him, the Archemperor and Ling Chongfeng would be one step ahead of him and snatch away the fat sheep in their hands. Stay here for me. Ji Wuchang's 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed at Lin Yu. In an instant, black and white energy burst out from his palm. Lin Yu didn't care at all, and he didn't even make a move to look back. Number 7. Another Supreme Being attacked, and his fist force was mixed with a tyrannical Supreme Being will. He and Number 8 each took one side, and Ji Wuchang immediately sensed a life-and-death crisis. While he attacked with all his strength, he also tried to use the momentum to retreat, but the two Supreme Beings noticed him first. Since you offended the emissary, leave your life. Bang! Number 7 punched Ji Wuchang's ribs. After a crack, Ji Wuchang felt the pain of his body being torn apart. Then, he vomited a mouthful of blood. However, his face was covered his face. That was Number 8's palm, which was aimed at his face. Damn it, I'm one of the 7 Hall Masters of the Netherworld's 7 Fiends Hall. Ji Wuchang, Ji's eyes. Number 8's eights didn't stop. Supreme, of 2, they were reasonable was the 9, was they to them. They would to them, to SSS, S's A-boom. The palm hit the center of Ji Wuchang's eyebrows. He couldn't resist, because Number 7 and Number 9 had restrained his movements. The Supreme Being will penetrated Ji Wuchang's head. Ji Wuchang's body exploded. Number 8 grabbed him and threw him far away. As for Lin Yu, at this moment his 5 fingers formed a claw and sucked Ji Wuchang's storage ring. His name was Yu, and one of his mantras was to kill and plunder. Lin Yu immediately put the storage ring in his hand, and he put his own storage ring back on his finger. The rest of the 7 evil spirits were also killed by the 3 Supreme Beings at this moment. In front of him, those from the earthly fire-burning pavilion and the heavenly soul sect who wanted to attack Lin Yu all stopped at this moment. This kid is not right. He also has a Supreme Being among his people. And there's more than one. We can't fight, or we'll end up like the 7 evil spirits. There's more to this kid than meets the eye. From the very beginning, they had been toying with Lin Yu and had been preparing to attack him and take his storage ring. Until now, these people were all extremely afraid. Even when Lin Yu approached step by step, they instinctively took a few steps back out of fear. Does anyone else want my storage ring? Lin Yu said calmly. Apparently, the corpses of the 7 evil spirits didn't mean anything to him at all. And yet, the person he had just killed was Ji Wuchang. Clasping hands, the Archemperor said, "You've got guts, sire. We were in the wrong today. The earthly fire-burning pavilion will take our leave now." At this point, he was on full alert, worried that Lin Yu's people would suddenly attack him. Seeing that Lin Yu wasn't saying anything, the Archemperor gave a meaningful glance, and the earthly fire-burning pavilion members prepared to leave. "You're leaving just like that?" Qin Wunyan said. "If I let you off the hook just like that, then how am I supposed to put my name?" Lin Yu chuckled. Although his voice wasn't very loud, it was like a thunderclap that exploded in the minds of the earthly fire-burning pavilion members. By the time the words left his mouth, the 10 paragons and Zhang Qingxue had finished dealing with the 7 evil spirits and were now standing in front of Lin Yu. Of course, that included Number 7, Number 8, and Number 9. As of this moment, those 3 were the most intimidating. After all, they were the ones who had killed Ji Wuchang. "Your Excellency, what will it take for us to drop this matter?" The Archemperor swallowed nervously, not daring to act rashly in front of Lin Yu, especially when he knew that Ji Wuchang's cultivation was above his. as he had reached the realm of a 3-star earthly sovereign. And yet, even someone like that couldn't last more than a few moves against these three. In the end, the will of a paragon was infused into him, and he exploded. 300 meters away, the black smoke from Ji Wuchang's explosion was still drifting in the air. If a 3-star Earth sovereign wasn't strong enough, then how could a 2-star Earth sovereign like the Archemperor possibly dare to do anything? I'm a reasonable person, Yang Qi said. You wanted to rob me, and now that you've failed, I'm going to give you an eye for an eye. Lin Yu didn't say anything, but instead, the 10 paragons looked over at the rings of holding of the earthly fire-burning pavilion members. You'd better not push things too far, the Archemperor said through gritted teeth. Are you trying to rob us? Did I not make myself clear enough? Lin Yu suddenly realized that he had made a mistake. Behind him, number 8 attacked again, killing one of the earthly fire-burning pavilion disciples with a single fist strike. He moved with such speed and decisiveness that the Archemperor didn't even dare to say anything. Only now did he realize that he had kicked an iron plate. These people were definitely among the most powerful in terms of battle prowess present. Unfortunately, they had been keeping a low profile and had even used certain methods to conceal the level of their cultivation bases. In addition, Lin Yu's offer of 1 trillion yuan made them greedy, which led to the robbery at this moment. Take off your rings of holding. Gritting his teeth, the Archemperor finally relented. All of the earthly fire-burning pavilion disciples removed their rings of holding. Can we leave now? Chapter 593. Can we leave now? The Archemperor asked, trembling with fear. No one could have imagined that the 3 great powers who had come to participate in the Flower Appreciation Festival would end up like meat on a chopping board. Lin Yu was a knife on the chopping board that could fall at any moment. Of course, Lin Yu smiled faintly. The people from the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion nodded in relief. Thank you, young Master Qin. Farewell. The people from the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion left, leaving behind only the people from the heavenly soul sect. Ling Changfeng and Mo Xianxian exchanged glances and prepared to leave without saying a word. It just so happened that the people from the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion were also leaving. If they blended into the crowd, perhaps Lin Yu wouldn't be suspicious. Unfortunately, they hadn't gone far when they heard the youth's voice behind them. Did I give you permission to leave? Lin Yu's calm voice rang out. It wasn't loud, but to the people from the heavenly soul sect, it was like a soul-snatching voice from hell. That Ling Changfeng's face twitched. After a moment of hesitation, he slowly turned around. Take it off. I'll take it off right now. He gritted his teeth and looked at number 7, number 8, and number 9 beside Lin Yu without any hesitation. Without hesitation, he took off his ring of holding. Lin Yu was stunned. Before he could say anything, the people from the Heavenly Soul sect had already presented their rings of holding to him. Well, can we go now? Ling Changfeng knew that he was no match for Lin Yu, so he didn't dare to act rashly. If he lost his money, the Heavenly Soul sect would give him more, but he only had one life. Let's go. Lin Yu put away the rings of holding, not even looking at them. Master, you've struck gold this time. Zhang Qingxue watched the people from the Heavenly Soul sect and the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion flee, and couldn't help but burst into laughter. However, the 10 Supremes were worried. Emissary, won't we anger the people from the great sects by doing this? The strongest of the 10 Supremes couldn't help but ask. Don't you think we're doing something unreasonable? Lin Yu asked. Hearing this, the 10 great Supremes all fell silent. These people had come to snatch their 9 luminaries golden pills and 3 lives color glass beads. If Lin Yu and his group were not so strong today, they would have been able to snatch their 9 luminaries golden pills and 3 lives color glass beads. Then they would be the ones being bullied, and their end would be even worse. Lin Yu only wanted them to hand over their storage rings. He didn't really hurt them. This was already considered merciful. I was too soft-hearted. The leading Supreme Being cupped his fists and apologized. The young man in front of him just smiled faintly and didn't say anything. However, this utmost exalted sensed something reserved. It was an introverted aura that did not belong to his age. Lin Yu looked like he was only 15 or 16 years old, but no matter what he did, it was always within his own logic. Such a person was both outstanding and powerful. It would be difficult for him not to achieve great things. They returned to their residence. Along the way, no one dared to stop Lin Yu. "Master, let me help you wash up." Zhang Qingxue served Lin Yu. In the area outside the main city of the glazed moon-stepping tower, there were many inns for itinerant cultivators who came and went to trade glory bot. And Lin Yu and the others who came to participate in the Flower Appreciation Festival naturally could only stay here. After all, the glazed moon-stepping tower was famous for being stingy and hoarding money. They were not even willing to provide areas such as a guest hall. At this moment in another inn, it had been booked by the Tianhan sect. "Sir, you have to pay the accommodation fee for booking the entire place, right?" The innkeeper stammered, afraid of angering this group of people from large sections. But they were running a small business. Today, the Tianhan sect people couldn't pay the reservation fee, and other guests couldn't enter. Wouldn't the inn suffer a huge loss? "Damn it, I said I'll pay in a few days. No money today means no money. Don't you understand?" Ling Chongfeng slammed his palm on the table, and the table in front of him immediately split into pieces. He gritted his teeth. "If it weren't for Qin Wenyan, how could I not even pay this little bit of glory bot? Then you must pay in a few days." The innkeeper swallowed his saliva. "Got it, get out of here." Ling Chongfeng's angry voice came again. Looking at the broken table on the ground, the innkeeper reminded, "This table, you have to pay 30 glory bot." After saying that, before Ling Chongfeng could get angry, the innkeeper had already hurried away. "Junior sister, what do you think we should do about this?" Ling Chongfeng glanced at Mo Xianxian, who had been silent all this while. Didn't this woman usually have a lot of ideas? Why didn't she have any ideas when facing Qin Wenyan today? "Senior brother, Qin Wenyan is too powerful. You saw it too. Today, even Ji Wuchang was in his hands." Mo Xianxian recalled the scene where Lin Yu dealt with the 7 demons hall of the netherworld and felt a little scared. Qin Wenyan didn't even blink his eyes. His subordinates had already killed everyone from the 7 demons hall of the netherworld. I don't believe that a stinky little brother with an unknown background dares to be so arrogant. Ling Chongfeng didn't believe it. Sent a message back to the Tianhan sect. "I want to call for reinforcements." "Senior brother, don't worry." Mo Xianxian shook her head helplessly. "This is the glazed moon-stepping tower's territory. If we were to allow the Tianhan sect to send reinforcements here, I'm afraid that before we can deal with Qin Wenyan, we would have already offended the glazed moon-stepping tower." She added, "Although the 3 tower masters of the glazed moon-stepping tower are all women, they are definitely not easy to deal with." "Then what do you think we should do?" Ling Chongfeng was so angry that his face turned red. "Your senior brother is the young master of the Tianhan sect. How can I swallow this anger when all my dazzling bot was stolen by someone? Weren't you the one who wanted to rob others first? Now that you've suffered a double loss, who else can you blame?" Mo Xianxian mocked in her heart, but a dimple appeared on her beautiful face. "I'll go test out that Qin Wenyan first and see what kind of background he has." "You?" Ling Chongfeng sized Mo Xianxian up. "Junior sister, could it be that you want to use a honey trap?" "Senior brother, what nonsense are you talking about? Do I look like I'm the same as those sluts?" Mo Xianxian's face wrinkled in grievance. "That's true." Ling Chongfeng smiled faintly. "That's true. If junior sister knew how to use a honey trap, the first person you would have used it on would have been me, right?" He stood up and walked to Mo Xianxian's side, wanting to hold Mo Xianxian's hand. But Mo Xianxian twisted his hand away. "Senior brother, please conduct yourself with dignity." Mo Xianxian's tone was polite, but she couldn't hide the disgust on her face. "Hee, if junior sister knows how to use a honey trap, remember to use it on senior brother." Ling Chongfeng pointed out and continued, "Junior sister should know that I'm the future head of the Tianhan sect. Father will hand the Tianhan sect to me sooner or later." He came closer again, as if afraid that Mo Xian couldn't hear him. He emphasized every word. No one can snatch away your position as senior brother. Mo Xianqian's expression changed slightly, but she smiled. I'll go find Qin Wunyan first. Chapter 594. Junior sister, if you want to obtain more, you must first obtain senior brother's favor. Otherwise, there might not be a place for you in the Tianhan sect. Ling Chongfeng added, as the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He knew his junior sister's ambition. She wouldn't be willing to submit to others. Unfortunately, even though Ling Chongfeng knew her thoughts, she still rejected him many times. This made Ling Chongfeng's desire to obtain her even more intense. Junior sister, it's good for you to take a look at Qin Wunyan's background. If there's a chance, you can help senior brother take back the 9 luminaries golden pill. Ling Chongfeng didn't say anything else. He began to adjust his breathing. Today, he was frightened by Lin Yu. His cultivation was a little chaotic. After leaving the inn, Mo Xianqian's gaze was gloomy. There were even traces of tears in her eyes. If you weren't the son of the sect leader, I would have killed you just now. Mo Xianqian clenched her fists so tightly that her nails dug into her flesh. However, she didn't care at all. She was still so angry that she gnashed her teeth. Wait until I get the 9 luminaries golden pill and become a heavenly sovereign. At that time, I won't need to care about your faces. She walked towards Lin Yu's direction. When she arrived at Lin Yu's residence, she saw the 10 great sovereigns at the bottom floor of the inn. Zhang Qingxue and Lin Yu were nowhere to be seen. I'm Mo Xianqian of the Tianhan sect. I request to see young Master Qin Wunyan. Mo Xianqian cupped her fists and spoke. Her hot figure immediately attracted the attention of the 10 great sovereigns. However, they were more curious about why this person who just went against Lin Yu would pay them a visit. The envoy is cultivating. Miss Mo, what brings you here? The leader of the 10 great sovereigns asked coldly. When this person walked over, Mo Xianqian felt a chill run down her spine. Her cultivation was also at the Earth sovereign level, but she didn't know why. When facing this group of people who seemed to only be in the law realm, she felt an instinctive sense of oppression. This was especially so for the person who spoke. Mo Xianqian had a feeling that if this person were to fight with her, she would be the one to fight. With her cultivation, she probably wouldn't be able to last the time it took to brew a cup of tea. It was not just the person who spoke, but the other 9 as well. The true strength of these 10 people was definitely not as simple as the aura of the law realm that they displayed. Mo Xianqian was even more curious about Lin Yu. What was the background of this fellow? He was actually able to make these 10 unfathomable experts willingly become his followers? This concubine has an important matter to discuss with young master. Please inform him. Suppressing the shock in her heart, Mo Xianqian braced herself and said. The leader of the heavenly sovereigns hesitated for a moment before going up to the 2nd floor of the inn. He did not knock on the door because Lin Yu did not like to be disturbed. After asking a few questions outside the door, the heavenly supreme came down and said, Miss Mo, please go back. The young master is cultivating and will not see any guests for 2 hours. 2 hours, Mo Xianqian frowned. He seemed to have vaguely understood the other party's intention. Then I'll wait here for him. Mo Xianqian smiled as he sat down at an empty table. Young master only said that he would be out in 2 hours, but it might not be only 2 hours. Miss, please go back. The heavenly supreme reminded her once again. It's fine. Since I'm here, I have to show my sincerity. I'm willing to wait here for young Master Qin. Mo Xianqian thought in her heart. To achieve great things, one must first endure what others cannot endure. If she were to back out now, would she still be called Mo Xianqian? Seeing how determined she was, the heavenly supreme did not say anything else. The envoy's luck with women is really strong. First, there's a little princess. Now, there's the number 1 beauty of the heavenly soul sect. Isn't that so? I saw that Zhang Wuliang's wife had an indescribable feeling for the envoy. The envoy is a young genius. He's a person with great wisdom and strategy. There are very few women who would not like him. Sigh, who hasn't been young before? The 10 sovereigns gossiped. Their words were filled with envy for Lin Yu. On the second floor of the inn, Lin Yu had just finished harmonizing the laws of nature with Zhang Qingxue. He let go of Zhang Qingxue, who lay down weakly. Master is getting more and more powerful, Zhang Qingxue said weakly. Qingxue also needs to improve. Otherwise, Qingxue won't be able to cultivate with Master soon. It will be soon. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Seeing Zhang Qingxue's current state, he judged, well, the next cultivation will wait until you reach the third level of the laws. Thank you, Master. Zhang Qingxue got up and thanked him. Although Lin Yu was understanding, there was a hint of regret in Zhang Qingxue's eyes. However, there was a hint of pity in Zhang Qingxue's eyes. This meant that she might not be able to cultivate and harmonize the laws of nature with her master for a very long time. Although the path of martial arts is like rowing a boat against the current, if you don't advance, you will fall behind. You also need to know the principle of haste makes waste. Lin Yu still gave her a few words of advice. Sometimes, the more anxious you are, the slower your progress will be. On the contrary, people who progress step by step will progress faster. Qingxue understands. Lin Yu did not speak anymore. Instead, he looked down at the inn. Still hasn't changed at all. With a faint smile, Lin Yu's gaze could not help but recall the few times he had fun with Mo Xianxian when he was trapped for 100,000 years. At that time, he knew that this woman was the same as Qingqing. She had a kind of ambition. However, Qingqing's fate was better than hers. At least when Qingqing was in the Emperor's sect, no one could surpass her. However, Mo Xianxian was different. Lin Yu knew that her ability was above Ling Chongfeng's. Unfortunately, she went to the wrong sect. The sect master of the Tianhun sect attached great importance to bloodlines. No matter how much of a playboy Ling Chongfeng was, the future of the Tianhun sect would still be in his hands. As for others, no matter how hard they worked, it would be a waste of effort. Lin Yu once again sank into cultivation. At the same time, he realized that Hong Binglu and Lu Yanqing's probing today might have caused these two women to suspect him. Well, if necessary, I'll just lay my cards on the table and snatch her. Thinking of this, Lin Yu took out the Navagraha golden pill. Unfortunately, it's a flawed golden pill. He shook his head helplessly. No wonder the women of the glazed moon-stepping tower were so generous to hand over the Navagraha golden pill. When the Navagraha golden pill appeared in the square, Lin Yu saw the flaw in the golden pill. However, it was more reasonable for it to be flawed. Otherwise, with the miraculous effects of the Navagraha golden pill, Hong Binglu and Lu Yanqing would have already fought to break through to the heavenly sovereign level. Why would they take it out to auction? Although it's flawed, there's a way to remedy it. Lin Yu sized up the Navagraha golden pill. It seems that there's a problem with one of the 9 sovereign while during the process of refining the pill. He pondered. Logically speaking, the Navagraha golden pill was refined from the 9 sovereign wills. Any sovereign will would have to be balanced with the others. However, there were too many accidents during the process of refining the pill. It was almost impossible to find the cause now. I'll have to test it one by one to know. After saying that, Lin Yu did not think much and continued to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. Below the inn, Mo Xianxian waited for 2 hours, but Lin Yu did not appear. She stood up and pursed her lips. Can you send another message? Chapter 595. We have no right to interfere with young master's matters. If Miss isn't willing to wait, you can leave now. The heavenly sovereign coldly said. Naturally, he didn't want to help Mo Xianxian. Hearing this, Mo Xianxian's eyes flashed with disappointment. She wanted to leave, but she wasn't willing to. In the end, she sat down again, thinking of the grievances she received from Ling Chongfeng, and now being rejected by Lin Yu. Mo Xianxian's heart was filled with mixed feelings. She ordered the inn to bring out a few jars of wine. The 10 Supremes glanced over, wondering if this woman wanted to get drunk. By the time they looked over, Mo Xianxian had already started drinking by herself. Another 4 hours passed. The 10 Supremes had already returned to their rooms. While Mo Xianxian was drunk, she saw the door to Lin Yu's room open. Qin Wunyan, you've finally come out. She originally thought that Lin Yu had come out, but instead, she saw a pure and innocent girl leaving his room. Mo Xianxian became even more depressed. So, it's because you're immersed in your tenderness that you don't want to see me? She couldn't help but mock herself. Zhang Qingxue closed the door to Lin Yu's room. She glanced at the young girl whose face was red from the alcohol. Master isn't seeing any guests today, Zhang Qingxue said. She remembered Lin Yu's instructions and didn't say anything else. She returned to her room. She closed the door. The sky gradually darkened. In the entire inn, only Mo Xianxian was left. He's not seeing any guests. She coldly laughed. She originally thought that she could find an opportunity to leave the Tianhun sect, but she didn't expect that she couldn't even see Lin Yu's face. Mo Xianxian thought about it, but she was still unwilling. Especially when she thought of Ling Chongfeng's disgusting face. She didn't want to return to the inn. While thinking, Mo Xianxian gritted her teeth and walked up to the second floor of the inn. She stood outside Lin Yu's room. "Young master, do you know why I'm here?" Mo Xianxian's footsteps were already staggering. After a long time, Lin Yu's leisurely voice came from inside. "It's not wine that intoxicates, but oneself. Miss, you have something on your mind, but you and I don't walk the same path. I don't know whether or not I should listen to you, so I might as well not see you. It's not the wine that gets you drunk, but you get yourself drunk." Mo Xianxian repeated Lin Yu's words. That's right. With her current cultivation, if she didn't want to get drunk, no amount of wine would make her drunk. At this moment, she was just trying to get drunk. Lin Yu's words pierced deeply into her heart. Mo Xianxian's bright eyes flashed with a subtle emotion. Her dark red lips parted slightly as she spoke. Who would have thought that not only does young master have such a strong background, your literary talent is also exceptional. There was still no sound from inside. Mo Xianxian continued in a self-mocking tone. "Young master, am I so unbearable to meet you?" Lin Yu stayed in his room and studied the 9 luminaries golden pill on his own. He already had a good understanding of the flaws of the golden pill. He casually replied, "Miss is the #1 beauty of the Tianhun school, and you're drunk right now." Qin Wunyan isn't a man who can't sit still. Before he finished speaking, the door was forcefully opened. Lin Yu's voice lingered in the air, but Mo Xianxian had already closed the door. Her beautiful eyes stared fixedly at Lin Yu, who was sitting by the table. "Even though I deliver myself to your door," young master was still indifferent. "You're clearly a man who can't sit still." That nonchalant look was deeply imprinted in Mo Xianxian's mind. Taking advantage of her drunkenness, she walked over. Her slightly heated voice once again entered Lin Yu's ears. "This concubine doesn't want to lie to young master, but does young master know why I'm here?" Lin Yu glanced at Mo Xianxian's current appearance and felt that there was more sincerity in her eyes. He played with the 9 luminaries golden pill in his hand and handed it over to Mo Xianxian. "Is it because of this?" Lin Yu's words and the 9 luminaries golden pill simultaneously provoked Mo Xianxian. The latter's heartbeat suddenly sped up. She let out a long sigh. While comforting herself, she also suppressed the thought of snatching the 9 luminaries golden pill away. After all, Mo Xianxian still remembered that the last person who wanted to snatch Lin Yu's storage ring, that Ji Wuchang, had died without a complete corpse. Perhaps the 7 Fiends Hall of the Netherworld were crazily attacking the glazed moon treading tower right now, wanting to take revenge for Ji Wuchang. And clearly, Lin Yu didn't seem to care about the 7 Fiends Hall's revenge at all. "Young master, this item is very important to this concubine. Please grant me my wish." Mo Xianxian directly sat on Lin Yu's lap. Mo Xianxian and Lin Yu were very close to each other, especially when this woman was drunk. If it was an ordinary man, he wouldn't be able to resist at all. "You're willing to sacrifice your body to obtain the 9 luminaries golden pill?" Lin Yu put away the golden pill and teased. At the same time, his strong arm pressed against Mo Xianxian's back. Feeling Lin Yu's arm moving, Mo Xian bit her lower lip. Her heartbeat was faster than ever before. You have to think carefully. Some things can only be used once. If you use it up, you won't be so precious in the future. Lin Yu reminded her. Mo Xian suddenly felt that she couldn't hide any secrets from him. Young master, how did you know? You're a rare woman with ambition and self-respect. Lin Yu wanted to say something but stopped. He remembered that during the 100,000 years he was trapped, he refined a fake 9 luminaries golden pill and tricked Mo Xian into spending a night of fun. Thinking back, Lin Yu felt that he was still too naive. Because of that, Mo Xian directly killed him for the fake pill. After all, he was only in the mortal realm. After failing a few times, he learned to be smart. He lied to Mo Xian that the 9 luminaries golden pill still had a final step. It was also through this lie and warning method that Lin Yu successfully entered the realm that Ling Chongfeng dreamed of. I didn't expect that you're still doing it for the 9 luminaries golden pill. Lin Yu sighed. Mo Xian saw that he was acting strangely and asked in confusion, Young master, what's wrong? It's none of your business. Lin Yu tightened his arms. Mo Xian snorted. Young master, be gentler. I'm just hugging you. If you can't even bear this, what should we do later? Lin Yu teased. He remembered that this woman was under a lot of pressure. Could it be that she became weak because she was drunk? Young master, do you mean what you say? Mo Xian's heart thumped. She felt that if the other party was Lin Yu, she wouldn't lose out by doing this. After all, Lin Yu's appearance was many times more handsome than Ling Chongfeng. Also because of the alcohol, Mo Xian couldn't help but hug Lin Yu tightly, and her whole body rubbed against him. However, the latter suddenly let go of her. Mo Xian lost all her strength and retreated a few steps, almost falling down. She stabilized herself and asked in confusion, Young master, why are you doing this? Chapter 596. I feel that if this continues, I'll be at a disadvantage. Lin Yu said with a serious face. The wind and moon suddenly stopped. Mo Xian was so angry that her face turned from red to ashen. What do you mean by you'll be at a disadvantage? I'm a #1 beauty of the Tianhan sect, and I'm still a virgin. How dare you say that you're the one at a disadvantage? Mo Xian even had the heart to die. The men who had pursued her, starting from Ling Chongfeng to the other disciples of the Tianhan sect and the dozens of sects in the Jade Silk Dao world. She couldn't even keep count. But now, in front of Lin Yu, she was a woman who took advantage of men. Miss, please respect yourself. I, Qin Wunyan, am not the kind of person you think I am. Seeing Lin Yu's righteous expression, Mo Xian immediately snapped out of her warm and carefree thoughts. Then what will it take for young master to agree to transfer the golden core to me? Lin Yu continued. If you want the 9 luminaries golden core, that's fine. But can you help me do something? So you've come up with a bad idea? Mo Xian suppressed the sullenness in her heart and bowed. I was too impulsive. May I know what you want me to do for you to give me the 9 luminaries golden core? You should know that I offended the people of the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion today. Lin Yu reminded her and continued. During the day, those people were afraid of me and gave me their storage rings. But tomorrow is the second part of the Flower Appreciation Festival, the martial arts competition, so it will be troublesome. I understand. Mo Xian sized up Lin Yu. She naturally knew the rules of the martial competition. It was a one-on-one challenge. Today, Lin Yu offended the Archemperor. The Archemperor didn't dare to fight Lin Yu because he was afraid of the 10 great experts. But if the Archemperor challenged Lin Yu one-on-one, how could he be a match for the Archemperor with his law realm cultivation? Mo Xian smiled. So you're afraid to? She originally wanted to tease Lin Yu to regain the face she had just lost. But he didn't expect that because of this sentence, Lin Yu's eyes suddenly became sharp. Young master, please don't take offense. I misspoke. Mo Xian immediately apologized, fearing that she might have angered Lin Yu. I only need the Tianhan sect to cooperate with me. Everything else is none of your business. Lin Yu's tone was incomparably calm, but Mo Xianxian's back was drenched in cold sweat. This concubine understands. This concubine won't dare to say anything that shouldn't be said. Mo Xianxian nodded repeatedly. Lin Yu didn't bicker with her. In fact, his tone just now was just to see if Mo Xianxian was sincere and cooperating. Clearly, this woman's desire for the Navagraha golden pill was enough to make her do anything. The leaders of the major forces participating in the flower viewing event can have one chance to fight on their behalf. Lin Yu continued. According to the rules of the Flower Appreciation Assembly, if the Archemperor causes any trouble for me, then your elder brother Ling Chongfeng can fight in my place. Young master is right. Mo Xianxian nodded. She already understood Lin Yu's meaning. Young master only has one condition? Of course not. The value of the Navagraha golden pill isn't something that can be offset by such a small matter. I also need you to do the second thing. Lin Yu's gaze landed on Mo Xianxian's body. Mo Xianxian's heart tightened. Don't tell me I have to offer my body. Don't think too much. I'm not that interested in your body. Lin Yu's cold voice sounded. The second thing is that I need you to help me get the third woman for the flower viewing event. These two sentences caused Mo Xianxian's self-esteem to suffer yet another blow. Lin Yu wasn't interested in her, but he was willing to use such methods to get another woman. In comparison, the difference between her and that woman was like the difference between heaven and earth. If you can't do these two things, then I'll use the Navagraha golden pill for myself. I can do it. Mo Xianxian hurriedly replied. I'll immediately go back and discuss it with my elder brother. We'll definitely do our best to fulfill young Master Qin's conditions. Go. Lin Yu no longer paid any attention to her. Mo Xianxian also tactfully left. Master, you've succeeded again. Zhang Qingxue popped out. She stuck out her tongue and asked expectantly, Master, what you asked me to say to Mo Xianxian, did I say it well? Lin Yu's face twitched. It's only one sentence. How can I tell if it was good or not? Zhang Qingxue's face was filled with disappointment. However, she still asked curiously, Master, why do we need to borrow the strength of the Tianhun sect to deal with the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion? What she meant was that with the strength of the 10 great sovereigns, there was no need for the Tianhun sect's Ling Chongfeng. Only the leader of a faction can challenge or be challenged. Not just anyone can make a move at the Flower Appreciation Festival. Lin Yu explained. I once visited the Moonlight Stepping Pavilion at night and fought with Hong Binglu and Lu Yanqing. If the Archemperor wants to challenge me tomorrow, the two pavilion masters will definitely recognize me. I understand now. Zhang Qingxue slapped the table in praise. With Ling Chongfeng's help, Master won't have to do it personally. You're not stupid, Lin Yu casually said. Although it didn't sound like a compliment, Zhang Qingxue took it as an affirmation. She asked again, if Ling Chongfeng really helps us, will Master give him the Navagraha golden pill? Of course not. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Master, you don't keep your word. Zhang Qingxue immediately retorted. Lin Yu coughed dryly. What I mean is, Ling Chongfeng will definitely violate the agreement. Therefore, I don't need to give him the Navagraha golden pill. Why? Zhang Qingxue was puzzled. Lin Yu smiled confidently. Because the woman who came to admire the flowers is very beautiful. With Ling Chongfeng's character, he won't let me take advantage of him. So Master saw through Ling Chongfeng's lecherous nature and knew that he wouldn't be able to achieve great things. Zhang Qingxue giggled and sighed. There are very few men in the world who are as calm as Master. Of course, Lin Yu deeply agreed. The next day, everyone gathered at the Glazed Moon Treading Towers Plaza again. This time, the Seven Fiends Hall of the Netherworld was absent. Many people were a little surprised. Where did Ji Wuchang go? Yesterday, he was beaten by Qin Wunyan. Did he leave with a grudge? Don't you know? Ji Wuchang is dead, and his body can't be found. What happened? While everyone was discussing, Lin Yu and the others were sitting in the same position as yesterday. Because of the limelight yesterday, no one dared to snatch this position from him. The people of the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion arrived before him. The Arch-Emperor looked over from afar with an extremely cold gaze. Vice Pavilion Master, we'll kill Qin Wunyan first. Yeah, Vice Pavilion Master, you have to stand up for us. Qin Wunyan is too much of a bully. Brothers, we didn't sleep well last night. Every time we think about the treasures and dazzling bot we worked so hard to accumulate, we just can't take it lying down. Upon closer inspection, the people of the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion didn't look very well either. Brat, the Arch-Emperor snorted coldly. I'll find a chance to kill Qin Wunyan. Don't worry. Chapter 597. Lin Yu didn't care what the people from the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion thought. Instead, the people from the Tianhun sect walked over. The one leading them was Ling Chongfeng, followed by Mo Xianxian. Junior's sister has already told me about Brother Qin's suggestion. Ling Chongfeng said first. His tone was polite. However, under that seemingly gentle gaze, Lin Yu could still see the murderous intent hidden in the other party. This kid had suffered a few losses in his hands. However, with his personality, he wouldn't back down so easily. If Lin Yu showed any flaws, Ling Chongfeng would be the first to kill him. How about it? Lin Yu said indifferently. Even though Ling Chongfeng had already walked over, he still didn't stand up. Instead, he drank the tea that Zhang Qingxue had brewed for him and casually looked around. In the square, many people had already sat down. As for the host, the glazed moon-treading pavilion hadn't appeared yet. I think Brother Qin's suggestion is good. Today, I will do my best to help you. But Ling Chongfeng's eyes narrowed. I hope Brother Qin can keep his promise. Mo Xianxian, who was behind him, looked at Lin Yu with a much gentler gaze. She didn't know why, but after yesterday's brief physical contact, she felt that Mo Xianxian felt that Lin Yu was more pleasing to the eye. After all, compared to Ling Chongfeng, she was more attracted to such a courageous and intelligent man who could keep his composure. In an instant, Mo Xianxian had already forgotten the grievance she felt when Lin Yu mocked her. If you don't believe me, then there's no need to cooperate. Lin Yu smiled lightly. His casual words made Ling Chongfeng frown. This kid was too arrogant. I only gave you a reminder, and you actually dare to embarrass me? Brother Qin, don't misunderstand. I didn't mean it like that. Ling Chongfeng's face twitched as he apologized again with an apologetic smile. The temptation of the 9 luminaries golden pill was too great. It was enough to make the younger generation scramble for it. Like Mo Xianxian, she was willing to give her body. How could Ling Chongfeng not think the same? It was just that no one wanted his body. Otherwise, Ling Chongfeng would have been the first to rush out and discuss this kind of transaction with the glazed moon-treading tower. The people from the Tianhun sect awkwardly returned to their seats. Mo Xianxian cast a few more glances at Lin Yu. The latter was still cold and indifferent, and even seemed to be ignoring them. One arrogant man. Mo Xianxian snorted. She didn't have any intention to blame Lin Yu. Instead, she felt a sense of worship. Very soon, the people from the glazed moon-treading tower had arrived. This time, the leader was not Lu Yanqing, but Hong Binglu. Why isn't the second-floor master here? Strange, this year's Flower Appreciation Festival should be hosted by the second-floor master. Everyone was astonished. Hong Binglu was the first to speak. Senior Marshal's sister is not feeling well. I'm afraid it's not convenient for her to host the Flower Appreciation Festival today, so I'll host it on her behalf. Disappointment appeared in the eyes of some of the men below. After all, as compared to Hong Binglu, Second House Master Lu Yanqing was much more beautiful. Only with a beauty like her hosting the Flower Appreciation Festival would the men be more willing to bid. It seems that the glazed moon-treading tower has earned enough yesterday, so they don't need the second house master to show her face in public. After earning enough, they just sent an ugly woman to entertain us? The glazed moon-treading tower really knows how to treat their guests. Lower your voice. Don't let Hong Binglu hear you. She's not someone to be trifled with. The people below were somewhat dissatisfied, and all these gossips fell into Hong Binglu's ears. She snorted coldly. Damn woman, you rely on your face every day. Other than that face, what else do you have that is better than me? Hong Binglu looked like a shrew, and she had already cursed Lu Yanqing in her heart. Seeing her ferocious look, the crowd didn't dare to say anything. Since everyone is here, let's start today's martial arts competition. Hong Binglu gave the order, and her gaze swept across the major forces below. The martial arts competition is mainly about learning from each other. The leaders of the major forces can fight on their own. Let's see what everyone is capable of. With that, Hong Binglu sat down cross-legged. In the direction of the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion, the Arch-Emperor snorted coldly. He stood up, smashed the table in front of him, and stepped onto the square. Why is the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion so angry? You don't know, right? Yesterday, Qin Wunyan robbed the people of the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion. He's still holding back his anger. Qin Wunyan is so powerful. The crowd couldn't help but look over. That young man was still casually whispering to Zhang Qingxue, who was next to him. The way they behaved intimately made people envious to death. You get up here. The Arch-Emperor glared, then raised his right hand and pointed in Lin Yu's direction. The Vice Pavilion Lord of the Earthly Flame, Heaven-Burning Pavilion challenges young Master Qin Wunyan. Seat of honor, Hong Binglu announced. At the same time, she looked in Lin Yu's direction. Young Master Qin Wunyan, please fight. Lin Yu didn't move. Hong Binglu narrowed her eyes and said impatiently, Young Master Qin, this is the rule of our martial arts competition. Lin Yu still didn't move. Bastard, I want to challenge you. The Arch-Emperor's cold voice rang out. Now that Lin Yu didn't come out, he stood alone in the square like an idiot, feeling a little awkward. Senior brother, hurry up, Mo Xian urged. Beside her, Ling Chongfeng shook his head helplessly. Originally, he was still angry at Lin Yu's arrogant attitude. He wanted to let the others scold Lin Yu, and then he would make a move. However, he didn't expect Mo Xian to be so anxious. Junior sister, do you have other feelings for Qin Wunyan? Ling Chongfeng asked suspiciously. I'm afraid that it will delay the important matter of getting the 9 luminaries golden pill. Mo Xian said angrily. If Lin Yu gave the 9 luminaries golden pill to her, she would be the first to take it and run. Once she became a Sky Supreme, even if the Tianhun sect wanted to settle the score, she wouldn't be afraid. If young Master Qin Wunyan is unhappy, I don't think I need to say more about senior brother's loss. Mo Xian warned again. All right. Ling Chongfeng stood up helplessly. But at the same time, Lin Yu stood up as well. What's the meaning of this? The Arch-Emperor was stunned. Brother Qin, let me fight this battle for you. Ling Chongfeng said from afar. Lin Yu said indifferently. I thought you didn't want to cooperate anymore. Brother Qin, you misunderstand. Just now Ling Chongfeng said awkwardly. My legs were numb, so I stood a little slower. Nonsense. Lin Yu sat down and ignored him. Ling Chongfeng had already flown to the square. At this moment, the Arch-Emperor's face was red with anger. I'm challenging Qin Wunyan. Ling Chongfeng, why are you here? There's a rule for the martial arts competition. The leaders of the other factions can fight for you, right? Chapter 598. Ling Chongfeng smiled and waved his hand, radiating the air of a noble prince. He was completely different from the person who had suffered so many setbacks in front of Lin Yu. If he hadn't run into Master, this Ling Chongfeng might have been in the limelight. Zhang Qingxue smiled as she continued to peel fruit for Lin Yu. But when Master makes a move, any other chosen can only pale in comparison. She looked over at Lin Yu, her bright eyes focused on his reaction. From the way her master listened to her words, it was almost as if he believed himself to be very powerful. Zhang Qingxue hadn't exaggerated at all. Third Tavern Lord, am I right? Ling Chongfeng asked Hong Binglu. Hong Binglu was surprised. Didn't Ling Chongfeng and Qin Wunyan fight yesterday? Why would he be fighting for Qin Wunyan today? Wasn't this a bit too sudden? Well, there's a rule like that. Hong Binglu nodded. Although it's rare for someone to fight for someone else in the past, it's still a rule. That's fine then. Ling Chongfeng smiled and looked at the Arch-Emperor. Let's exchange a few moves. Damn it, are you crazy? The Arch-Emperor said angrily. Cut the crap, Ling Chongfeng said. Our cultivation bases are about the same. Let me use Divine Will to test out the Arch-Emperor's battle body. Ling Chongfeng made the first move. He wasn't confident in being able to beat the Arch-Emperor, but neither was his opponent. Now that Ling Chongfeng had made his move, the fight was actually not very meaningful. Lin Yu was still leisurely sipping tea and eating fruit, being served by the beautiful Zhang Qingxue. As for the people from the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion, they were completely flabbergasted. Isn't the Vice Pavilion Lord fighting Qin Wunyan? What? Why is he fighting someone from the Heavenly Soul sect? They simply couldn't understand what was happening. I'll make you regret helping Qin Wunyan, Ling Chongfeng. The Arch-Emperor roared, his killing intent surging. Blue veins popped out on his arms, making them look like tree trunks covering his skin. With a wave of his hand, a powerful blood chi, accompanied by the sound of a storm, blasted directly towards Ling Chongfeng. Heavenly Soul, Divine Shadow. Ling Chongfeng raised both of his hands. His entire body remained motionless, but his supreme will converged into his divine will. In an instant, a huge celestial image appeared behind him. This Dharma idol was over 10,000 feet tall, and when it looked down, everyone in the square suddenly looked like ants. Transcendence World. This brat looks like a spoiled brat, but in reality, his control over his divine will is so impressive. The people of the Tianhun School are proficient in the use of their divine sense. Although they aren't very proficient in their divine sense, their techniques allow them to transform their cultivation into divine sense attacks. You do have some skills. Chuckling coldly, the Arch-Emperor increased the power of his fist, and at the same time, a 30,000-meter-tall projection appeared behind him. It was an evil god formed from scarlet blood chi. Die. You're the one who will die. Ling Chongfeng's eyes were as cold as ice. Originally, he had been hoping to casually deal with the Arch-Emperor, then retreat. How could he have guessed that the Arch-Emperor would be so crazy as to unleash such deadly attacks? It was as if he had transferred his killing intent towards Lin Yuan to him. The power of his battle constitution clashed with the power of his divine sense technique. Everyone down below was very nervous, and many of the people in the front row had already backed up a few dozen meters. They were worried that one of the moves would hit them. That included the people from the Tianhun School and the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion. As of this moment, the only person left in the front row was Lin Yu. Master, who do you think will win? Zhang Qingxue asked curiously. Apparently, the 10 paragons all had different opinions and were now discussing the matter. To them, a fight between paragons like this was the perfect opportunity to gain enlightenment and further their cultivation. The Arch-Emperor, Lin Yu said casually. When the 10 paragons heard that, they stopped arguing. I told you the Arch-Emperor would win. Even the emissary said the same thing. I don't think so. Ling Chongfeng is young, and his divine sense technique is mysterious and unfathomable. Ling Chongfeng could wear down the Arch-Emperor's energy and blood, and then kill him. Lin Yu didn't say anything, and yet, Zhang Qingxue didn't doubt his words at all. If her master said the Arch-Emperor would win, then the Arch-Emperor would win, just as she had expected. Moments later, the 30,000-meter-tall illusory figure vanished. Then, a figure flew down from the sky. It was none other than Ling Chongfeng. I can't believe the Arch-Emperor actually won. Emissary, why is that? Some of the paragons didn't understand, and turned to Lin Yu to ask questions. In response, he gave a perfunctory answer. Fighting spirit. With that, he didn't say anything else. The 10 paragons were no fools, and immediately understood what Lin Yu was trying to say. Zhang Qingxue was the only one who didn't understand. Master, what's fighting spirit? Lin Yu smiled. Seeing that she had served him well, he was feeling a bit more patient. The Arch-Emperor wants to go all out, but Ling Chongfeng wants to stop when it's necessary. The two of them have different goals in mind. I think I get it. Zhang Qingxue thought back to the last move. Ling Chongfeng had clearly been worried about getting hurt, and had retreated early to avoid it. However, The Arch-Emperor had taken the brunt of Ling Chongfeng's divine will attack head-on, then rushed over and punched Ling Chongfeng. Bastard! Ling Chongfeng scrambled to his feet, only to have the Arch-Emperor's foot sweep toward him. The chi and blood of the combat cultivator surged, and this kick directly set off a fierce storm. Before the force of the kick arrived, the ground beneath Ling Chongfeng's body had already exploded. Broken rocks flew up, cutting through the face that he thought was handsome. "It's not that easy," Ling Chongfeng said, his eyes bloodshot. Burning his cultivation base, he sent out a stream of divine will, which hit the Arch-Emperor's forehead. Hiss! The Arch-Emperor felt a stabbing pain, and his movements slowed by half a breath's worth of time. In that brief moment, Ling Chongfeng had already put some distance between him and the Arch-Emperor. 100 meters away, the Arch-Emperor's forehead was bleeding, and his divine was slightly damaged. However, he could still fight. In contrast, Ling Chongfeng seemed to have reached his limit. Without a few hours of shining bot empowerment, he wouldn't be able to recover his battle prowess. Vice Pavilion Lord of the Earthly Flame, Heaven-Burning Pavilion, is truly incredible. Ling Chongfeng, concede defeat. Seeing the murderous look on the Arch-Emperor's face, Ling Chongfeng was worried that the Arch-Emperor would attack again, so he conceded. In that case, congratulations on your victory, Pavilion Lord Arch-Emperor, Hong Binglu said coolly from her seat of honor. Despite how furious the Arch-Emperor was, he had no choice but to stop. Glaring hatefully at Ling Chongfeng, he said, "You'd better remember this, punk." Apparently, his anger toward Lin Yu was now directed toward Ling Chongfeng. Ling Chongfeng chuckled disdainfully. "If my dad were here, I'd kill you." Cursing inwardly, Ling Chongfeng walked past Lin Yu, clasped hands, and said, "How was my performance, Brother Qin?" He had assumed that Lin Yu would praise him, or perhaps even give him the Navagraha gold pill. But to his surprise, Lin Yu didn't even look him in the eye. "Elder brother, there's still the flower viewing tomorrow," Mo Xian reminded him. Inwardly, she was thinking, if it weren't for being the junior sectmaster of the Heavenly Soul sect, how could someone as impatient as Ling Chongfeng have accomplished so much? "You're right," Ling Chongfeng said. "I'm not in a hurry. See you tomorrow, Brother Qin." Chapter 599. Ling Chongfeng only felt his chi and blood surging violently. After the battle with the Arch-Emperor, he had paid a heavy price. "If you go back on your word and don't give me the 9 luminaries golden pill, I'll kill you tomorrow." Ling Chongfeng's eyes flashed with a cold, killing intent, but he hid it well. The people from the Tianhan sect bid their farewells and left. Before Mo Xian left, she bowed to Lin Yu and bid him farewell. "Master, I think that Mo Xian is interested in you." Zhang Qingxue smiled. She felt that a woman's intuition was never wrong. "There are plenty of women who are interested in me." Lin Yu took a sip of tea. After that, there were only a few small sects left in the martial arts competition. Lin Yu wanted to leave, but he saw an interesting person in the plaza. "You're here." Lin Yu smiled. He knew this person, and he was very familiar with him. After being trapped for 100,000 years, this person was one of the few interesting people. He was a handsome young man. He wore a light purple robe and held an ordinary-looking long saber in his hand. He had already defeated several experts from different sections. Rather than handsome, it was more accurate to say that he was beautiful. He was different from Bai Xuechen and Qin Wenyan. His handsomeness was a bit more flirtatious. If it was a man who was experienced with women, he might think that this was a girl dressed up as a man. But Lin Yu knew that this guy was a feminine man. "Master, what's wrong?" Zhang Qingxue saw that Lin Yu's expression was strange. As his voice faded, the feminine-looking young master turned around and left the square. No one knew which sect he came from. They only knew that he defeated the leaders of the 7 sects in one go. Perhaps because these people were too weak, the feminine-looking young master looked bored. The ordinary and worn-out silver-white long saber in his hand was slung over his shoulder, and he had already left the square. "Nothing, I just saw an interesting person." Lin Yu retracted his gaze and left the plaza with Zhang Qingxue. As for the 10 great sovereigns, they could also tell that the Yin soft blade seal was extraordinary. This person defeated those law realm experts without using his cultivation base. The strongest one was at the third firmament of the law realm. However, he couldn't withstand a single strike from him. That's an innate saber seal. It's as if his saber grew out of his hand. If his cultivation was at the same level as ours, I'm afraid even we wouldn't be his match. Sharp saber intent and strange saber technique. I only heard that the saber sovereign of the infinite Tao world had such unfathomable attainments in saber sealing. Could this person be a descendant of the saber sovereign? Saber sovereign? On the way, Zhang Qingxue heard the words of the 10 great supremes and couldn't help but ask curiously, what a domineering name. The Sword Emperor and Saber Lord. 10,000 years ago, the Sword Emperor of the Feng Yidao world was extremely outstanding. His equal was the Saber Lord of the infinite Tao world, Gui Rulai. People called him the Buddha of killing aura. Saber Lord Gui Rulai. Lord Buddha, murderous Qi. Zhang Qingxue was stunned. Even though she had never seen the 10 great utmost exalted before, she could tell how powerful they were from their words. He was equal to the Sword Emperor. 10,000 years ago, the overlord of the infinite Tao world, Saber Lord Gui Rulai. He had killed too many people and was as fierce as a ghost. Hence, he was also called the Lord Buddha, murderous Qi. Where's the Saber Sovereign now? Zhang Qingxue asked curiously. No one knows. That kind of great emperor-level existence is not something we can understand. That's right. There is a world of difference between the Supremes and the equilibrium Great Emperor realm. If not, how could Ghost Emperor Tsang Yuan stop our 100 Empire Coalition army alone? The 10 Great Supremes continued to discuss. Even their tone was somewhat apologetic to Zhang Qingxue. That day, we were instigated by the Purple Cloud Emperor and were blinded by greed to make things difficult for the vast Moon Empire. Seventh Princess, please don't take this matter to heart. The leading heavenly supremes cupped their fists and said, it would have been better if he didn't mention it. Since he did, the rest of the supremes also cupped their fists and apologized along the way. Master, Zhang Qingxue looked at Lin Yu with some fear. She had no idea what to do. This is your business, Lin Yu said casually. He stroked his chin and thought about the gentle saber seal just now. To be able to get such an evaluation from the 10 Great Supremes, it could be seen how powerful that gentle saber seal was. I remember that the disappearance of Lord Murderous Qi is related to the glazed moon treading tower. Could it be that kid already has some clues? The corners of Lin Yu's mouth lifted slightly. If that was the case, then it would be fun. If he could get the support of the infinite Tao world and the Songling Tao world, the Tao world of squares might have a new place. At that time, he would revive the Tao world of squares and kill the Ghost Emperor. He would also have the capital to step on the Sky Bridge. Lin Yu couldn't help but think of what the 10 Great Supremes said. He had to become stronger quickly because there were still many people waiting for him. There was also the secret of the small wooden house, the secret of the system, the reason why he was trapped on the same day for 100,000 years. Everything was still waiting for him in the future. And according to the 10 Great Supremes, he didn't have much time left. He had to become stronger quickly. The Supremes of heaven and earth, the Equilibrium Great Emperor, and all the top powerhouses in this starry sky wanted to step on the Sky Bridge. Even someone as strong as the Ghost Emperor, who had planned for 10,000 years, only wanted to leave his Tao intent on the Sky Bridge and walk to the end. And the Tao intent outside, Tao Master Songling's body was beaten down by the Ghost Emperor and the Azure Sky Tao Lord. It just so happened that even emperors like the Tao Lords had reached an extreme level of competition and desire to ascend the Sky Bridge. As for why they wanted to go up, Lin Yu naturally knew because there was a power above the Equilibrium Great Emperor. Heaven Realm. Emissary, have you heard of the Saber Lord? Along the way, the 10 Great Supremes couldn't come to a conclusion. It was because the disappearance of the Saber Lord was the same as the disappearance of the Sword Emperor. There were too many questions. Even after 10,000 years had passed, these questions were still difficult to answer. I've heard of him, Lin Yu said casually and didn't think about it anymore. They returned to the inn. Even the 10 great supremes and Zhang Qingxue looked at Lin Yu with longing eyes. They hoped to get some information about the legend of the Saber Lord from Lin Yu. The emissary is young, but since he can fight against the vast Abyss Tao Lord, his knowledge must be 100 times greater than ours. That's right. Since the emissary knows, he must have more information than us. So, instead of arguing about where the killing intent went, why don't we listen to what the emissary has to say? Unfortunately, even if they begged, Lin Yu didn't seem to care. If there's a chance, I'll tell you. With that, Lin Yu returned to his room. Zhang Qingxue wanted to come in and serve him, but when Lin Yu opened the door, the latter rejected her. Make me a pot of tea first. Chapter 600. Lin Yu instructed. Okay. Zhang Qingxue stopped in her tracks and did not continue to approach him. Instead, she turned around and went to make tea. Looking at the beautiful lady sitting in front of him, Lin Yu smiled but did not say a word. He closed the door as if nothing had happened. He sat in front of her calmly. Second floor master, you came to visit me but did not enter through the front door. Instead, you hid in my room. Lin Yu smiled and continued, a man and a woman alone. Second floor master, you are the #1 beauty in the glazed moon stepping tower. Aren't you afraid that Qin Wunyan will do something to you? Qin Wunyan. Qin Wunyan. I'm afraid this is your fake name. The person who came to this room to wait for Lin Yu in advance was the second floor master of the glazed moon stepping tower, Lu Yanqing. At this moment, Lu Yanqing did not look well. She was not as high-spirited and arrogant as she was yesterday. Her beautiful face was paler than before. She was exposed for using a fake name. Lin Yu took his time to size up Lu Yanqing without any scruples. Second floor master, you'd better think about your injuries. You were injured by Jiang Qingying, and it's not easy to recover. Lin Yu's casual words made Lu Yanqing's expression change slightly. She had guessed Lin Yu's identity, but did not expect Lin Yu to expose her situation before she could state her purpose of visit. How do you know that I'm injured? Lu Yanqing smiled, as if she was trying to hide her injuries. In her eyes, Lin Yu's background was mysterious, but his strength was only a weakling in the lost state. There were many people like him in the glazed moon stepping tower. Some lost state cultivators were not even qualified to be her disciple. Because I understand women, especially beautiful women. Lin Yu was still looking at her. If it was an ordinary man, he would have been a corpse by now. Lu Yanqing recalled that Lin Yu had said something similar to her yesterday. Hee, young master, I'm afraid you've deceived many young ladies with these words, right? Lu Yanqing smiled coldly, as if she was scolding Lin Yu for overestimating himself. I'm not like those young ladies. Therefore, young master, you don't have to waste your breath. Interesting, Lin Yu smirked. You're just an inexperienced woman. How dare you say that you're not a little girl? He stood up. Under Lu Yanqing's surprised gaze, he boldly approached her. Lin Yu's gaze was extremely sharp. What? Second floor master, do you want me to treat you as a real woman? Lu Yanqing slammed her palm on the table. Even if I have never had a man, I am still a real woman. However, she also knew that everyone here was Lin Yu's subordinates, and those 10 subordinates who seemed to be in the law realm were actually extremely unfathomable. Therefore, Lu Yanqing did not dare to use too much strength. She only made a slight noise. Seeing that she was angry, Lin Yu changed the topic. Just say it. Why is second floor master looking for me? I would like to borrow your 3 lives colored glass pearl. Lu Yanqing spoke directly without any hesitation. This also made Lin Yu feel her urgency. So you're injured and need the 3 lives colored glass pearl to heal? Lin Yu smiled. He did not hide his ridicule at all. As expected, Lu Yanqing's expression turned ugly. How can I borrow it? Second floor master, why don't you tell me what you can give me first? Lin Yu's invasive gaze wandered around Lu Yanqing's hot body. Lu Yanqing snorted. She did not know why, but if other men were to look at her like this, she would only feel disgusted. However, Lin Yu's gaze was filled with undisguised desire. Nevertheless, Lu Yanqing did not feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, because of the admiration in Lin Yu's eyes, Lu Yanqing could not get angry with this young man. "I can save your life," Lu Yanqing said softly. Lu Yanqing said softly, "Do you know that you killed the people from the Seven Demons Hall of the Netherworld? Even though you were ruthless and crushed their bones and scattered their ashes, there is no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world." The glazed moon-treading tower has already received the news. The people from the Seven Demons Hall of the Netherworld will come to deal with you very soon. Moreover, the people who will come this time will not be like Ji Wu Chang, who relied on elixirs to reach the supreme martial artist realm. They will be real experts. You are saying that the other hall masters of the Seven Demons Hall of the Netherworld will come to deal with me personally? Lin Yu asked rhetorically. Lu Yanqing nodded. She had thought that this young man would pack up and leave in fear. However, she did not expect Lin Yu to not care at all. "You're not afraid of death?" "Of course I am. Don't you have any other plans?" Lu Yanqing did not understand why this young man was so bold. Yesterday, when Lu Yanqing knew that he had killed everyone from the Seven Demons Hall of the Netherworld, she started to doubt her life. The Seven Hall Masters were the bottom line of the Seven Demons Hall of the Netherworld. Was he looking down on a top sect? "Didn't you say that you will protect me?" Lin Yu asked rhetorically. Lu Yanqing was at a loss for words when she heard what he said. Fine. If you are willing to lend me the 3 lives colored glass pearl, I can protect you." She had thought that Lin Yu would compromise. However, Lu Yanqing was wrong again. Lin Yu did not care about her protection at all. Lu Yanqing did not need his reply to know that he was fooling her. "Second house master is also injured. I'm afraid that Jiang Qingying will not let you off easily. How can you protect me?" "As long as I have the 3 lives colored glass pearl, I will be able to recover my skills," Lu Yanqing explained immediately. However, Lin Yu still touched his chin and said, "As far as I know, each of the 3 tower heads had one of the 3 lives colored glass beads. I wonder where the second tower head's 3 lives colored glass bead went." "You." Lu Yanqing was furious. "Do you have to get to the bottom of this?" He spread out his hands. "Second house master can choose not to tell me." "You." Lu Yanqing was interrupted. There was a knock on the door. It was Zhang Qingxue who had brought in tea. "Master," seeing Lin Yu walking toward the door, Lu Yanqing was afraid that the news of her being here would be leaked. She turned around and hit on Lin Yu's bed. Creak. The door opened. Zhang Qingxue placed the tea and the wooden tray on the table. She was extremely intelligent. How could she not see that there were 2 cups on the table? However, the tea inside was cold. It was not as good as hers. "Master, do you want me to fill it up?" Zhang Qingxue asked softly. "No need. Someone will fill it for me." Lin Yu's voice was heard. Lu Yanqing, who was hiding under the blanket, trembled. She was extremely nervous. If she had known that she would be discovered hiding under the blanket, she would rather be discovered outside. "Then, Qingxue will go out first." Zhang Qingxue smiled gently. She bowed and left. Before she left, she did not forget to close the door. "Come out." Lin Yu returned to his seat. When he saw Lu Yanqing sitting up in a sorry state, he raised his eyebrows at his cup. "Do I need to say more?" Chapter 601. What do you mean? Lu Yanqing had acted like a thief just now. Now, she was making a fool of herself in front of Lin Yu. She even wanted to pour tea for Lin Yu. How could she be willing to do that? "I'm here to work with you." Lu Yanqing was slightly angry. "I hope you can understand that we have an equal relationship." She thought that Lin Yu needed her protection because he had offended the Netherworld's 7 Demons Hall. However, the latter just smiled. "We might not be equal even if we work together." Lin Yu smiled faintly. He did not move. Instead, he was determined to make Lu Yanqing pour tea for him. "Since you're the one who took the initiative to look for me, our relationship is not equal. Do you understand?" Upon hearing that, Lu Yanqing could not help but clench her teeth subconsciously. She looked at Lin Yu. "Are you really not afraid of the Netherworld's 7 Demons Hall? How are the people from the Netherworld's 7 Demons Hall compared to the vast abyss down master? Lin Yu asked in return. Vast abyss down master. How can they be compared? Lu Yanqing did not understand why Lin Yu had asked such a strange question. Down masters are supreme existences. No power can challenge them. Why are you asking this? I just want to tell you that I'm not even afraid of the vast abyss down master. Why should I be afraid of the Netherworld's 7 Demons Hall? Vast abyss down master. Who exactly are you? Lu Yanqing's heart could not help but beat faster. In her memory, there was only one person among the younger generation who had been in contact with the vast abyss down master recently. It was the young man who everyone wanted to meet. His appearance had spread throughout the Sky Desert universe. Even a vast abyss down master could not catch him. He had even issued a wanted order in the Tao world at the cost of a year's Arch comprehension. Unfortunately, a lot of time had passed. Just when everyone thought that they could not find Lin Yu, the vast abyss down master increased the vast abyss down master's reward. The vast abyss down master had actually increased the reward to 10 years of great emperor enlightenment. He wanted to capture Lin Yu no matter what. Young Master Qin, is there a connection between you and Lin Yu? Lu Yanqing had just asked this when Lin Yu interrupted her. Answer my 2 questions first. After hinting that she was related to Lin Yu, Lu Yanqing's attitude became much gentler. After all, an existence that could give the vast abyss Tao Lord such a headache was already an extremely formidable figure in the universe, in her opinion. She had to give face to such a figure. Go ahead. Lu Yanqing stepped forward. Seeing that Lin Yu didn't continue, his eyes fell on the empty teacup in front of him. Do you have to be so overbearing? Lu Yanqing snorted. She had no choice but to pour a cup of tea for Lin Yu. The latter did not waste any time and said, The first thing I want to know is, who is the one who kidnapped the woman you brought out to admire the flowers tomorrow? His voice was calm. Although it sounded like an ordinary question, Lu Yanqing could not help but feel goosebumps on her back. Why did this brat have such a powerful aura? Lu Yanqing swallowed her saliva. She suddenly felt that although this young man looked cultured and refined, he might have killed more people than her. Only after going through many massacres could one condense such a murderous aura. It's none of my business. Lu Yanqing immediately shook her head. It's Jiang Qingying and Hong Binglu. On their way back, they met that girl. She wanted to explain further. However, Lin Yu had already nodded. I know that you don't want to kidnap people. This is also why you have more ambition than Jiang Qingying. After Lin Yu finished speaking, Lu Yanqing blinked. She did not know why, but she felt happy after being evaluated by this brat. Thank you, Lu Yanqing asked in reply. You little brat, are you really the thief from the night before yesterday? You still recognized me. Lin Yu smiled and did not hide the truth. After all, Lu Yanqing was asking him for a favor now. So what if he said it out loud? I knew it. Although I did not host the Flower Appreciation Festival today, I heard that Ling Chongfeng from the Tianhun sect helped you fight against the Archemperor. There must be a strange reason behind this. Lu Yanqing analyzed. Continue. Others might think that you asked Ling Chongfeng to help you because you were afraid of fighting one-on-one with the Archemperor. Only Ling Chongfeng would dare to fight the Archemperor on your behalf. But the problem is, how could someone who dared to kill Ji Wuchang be afraid of the Archemperor? Kid, you seem to be in the law realm, but you have so many tricks up your sleeve. Who knows, maybe the Archemperor would not be a match for you in a real fight. Lin Yu sipped his tea and smiled. You're not that stupid. I'm the 2nd Tower Lord of the Moonlight Stepping Tower. Of course I'm not stupid. Lu Yanqing snorted. That's why you avoided fighting the Archemperor. Perhaps it was to protect yourself. However, there's also a second reason. You were worried that we would see through your techniques. She leaned in close, hoping to see the change in Lin Yu's expression. However, he was like a dense fog that she could not see through. You're right. Given the abilities of the 3 Tower Lords, if I were to exchange a few blows with the Archemperor, you would definitely recognize me as the person from that night. Lin Yu spoke the truth. Lu Yanqing did not expect this kid to be so honest. It saved her the time of probing. However, she did not know that this was Lin Yu's way of showing his sincerity. Knowing each other's secrets could greatly strengthen their relationship. Kid, you came to save that pretty girl from the start. Are you her lover? Lu Yanqing asked in a gossipy manner. It was just as Lin Yu had expected. Even if the other party knew her secret, she would not pursue it at this moment. That was because she had a favor to ask of Lin Yu. Lover. The corner of Lin Yu's mouth curled into a smile, but he didn't comment. How can a woman's thoughts be hidden from me? Lu Yanqing smiled confidently. When she was brought back, I could tell that she had someone in her heart. That silvery white mirror seemed to have been given to her by her lover. How did you know? Lin Yu asked again. Lu Yanqing smiled and said, if it was her own item, she would not have been able to withstand the torture of Hong Binglu and Jiang Qingying. She would have confessed the method to activate the silvery white mirror. However, she did not confess even after going through 37 rounds of torture. A woman would only keep a secret if she had someone in her heart. Lin Yu's expression was calm. However, he sighed in his heart. This sigh was destined to cause many deaths in the glazed moon-treading tower. It's my turn to ask you the second question. Lin Yu did not want to think about little Mimi anymore. He changed the topic and said, how did you lose your 3 lives color glass bead? Every Tower Lord had a 3 lives color glass bead. It contained their martial comprehension and a portion of their power. When necessary, they could use the 3 lives color glass bead to recover from their injuries. Lu Yanqing would not lose such a precious item so easily. After hearing this, Lu Yanqing snorted coldly. I had a small conflict with Jiang Qingying over the 3 lives color glass bead. She gritted her teeth and hesitated. Chapter 602. However, Lu Yanqing recalled that Lin Yu had admitted that he was the person who sneaked into the glazed moon-stepping tower the night before and expressed his sincerity. She naturally could not keep quiet at this moment. Lu Yanqing had unknowingly fallen into Lin Yu's trap. My 3 lives color glass pearl was broken by Jiang Qingying. Lu Yanqing said. She tried her best to suppress her anger. However, Lin Yu could see through her. It seems that I came a good time. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Then we can talk about cooperation. You're willing to give me the 3 lives glass pearl? Lu Yanqing was elated. If not for the fact that Jiang Qingying was the most powerful tower master in the glazed moon-stepping tower, she would not be able to take out the other 3 lives glass pearls. She would also not come here to beg Lin Yu for treasures. Not only can I give you the 3 lives glass pearl, but I also want to help you with something. What is it? Lu Yanqing only felt that Lin Yu was very evil now. Kill Jiang Qingying. When Lin Yu said these words, there was no emotion at all. It was as if he had just said an extremely ordinary sentence. However, to Lu Yanqing, there was a raging storm in her heart. Impossible. Lu Yanqing stood up in shock. She is a heavenly sovereign. My disciple's tea is not bad. Try it. Lin Yu said faintly, and gestured for Lu Yanqing to sit down. As he wished, Lu Yanqing calmed down and sat down. Are you crazy? I only want the 3 lives glass pearl, but you want to kill Jiang Qingying? I'm not the one who wants to kill Jiang Qingying. Lin Yu shook the teacup in his hand. You want to kill her too? You're talking nonsense. Lu Yanqing was naturally unwilling to admit it. However, Lin Yu understood her and her past with Jiang Qingying. The position of the Tower Master originally belonged to you. So many years have passed. Is the second Tower Master used to this position and no longer has the anger from back then? Lin Yu said in a mocking tone. What do you know? Lu Yanqing squinted her eyes and became wary of Lin Yu again. Originally, he thought that after knowing the relationship between Lin Yu and that beautiful girl, he had already understood this young man. But he didn't expect him to know so much more. I know everything that you know. For example, you had a great chance of defeating her back then. Since then, the position of the glazed moon-stepping tower's first Tower Master is yours. As for the things you don't know, I also know. For example, why did the man who moved your heart for the first time leave you on the eve of the Great War? One sentence after another was heard. Lin Yu felt nothing. However, Lu Yanqing's heart was about to jump out of her throat. She had thought that no one would know about these secrets that had been buried in her heart for so many years. But now, She was like a woman who had no secrets in front of Lin Yu. This made Liu Yanqing feel very insecure. Even the disciples of the glazed moon-treading tower wouldn't know about this. Where did you hear it from? Of course, I have my ways. In that case, tell me. Liu Yanqing grabbed Lin Yu's hand. Why did he leave me all of a sudden and for so many years? Lin Yu patted her slender hand, and Liu Yanqing immediately withdrew her hand. I'm sorry. I'm not used to being touched by men. Liu Yanqing apologized. I know. You didn't even let that man touch you. After hearing this, Liu Yanqing's heart tightened again. You're a demon, right? It was not that Lin Yu had said something wrong. Instead, it was as though he had casually revealed the deepest secret in Liu Yanqing's heart. This was not something that Lin Yu should know. I can tell you that the reason why that man left you back then was because of Jiang Qingying. The moment Lin Yu finished speaking, Liu Yanqing's breathing quickened. The former continued. She gave that man something that you're unwilling to give. What is it? Liu Yanqing asked quickly. Her body. Lin Yu smiled. Her body. Jiang Qingying. That be asterisk TCH. She actually. Liu Yanqing clenched her slender hands so tightly that blood seeped out from her fingernails. How did I lose to her? She had not expected that the man was actually snatched away by Jiang Qingying. Lin Yu smiled faintly. A man with no self-control. He couldn't wait to have a taste of a woman before marrying you. However, the second-floor lord kept her chastity and refused to even let him have simple physical contact. How could a man be satisfied with a simple heart-to-heart talk? Liu Yanqing's delicate body could not help but tremble. Did I do something wrong? Is this how any man behaves? Not necessarily. Some men might only be willing to have a heart-to-heart talk with a woman after getting her body. Liu Yanqing was furious. However, Lin Yu continued nonchalantly. You lost to Jiang Qingying because you were distracted. Naturally, you could only accept the position of the second-floor lord. Over the years, Jiang Qingying had gathered all the resources of the glazed moon-stepping tower. Her strength was getting further and further away from yours. You should know this. What about him? Liu Yanqing asked in a low voice. However, Lin Yu could sense some killing intent in her tone. He's dead. Jiang Qingying slept with him and controlled his body. She could also control him to mess up your Taoist heart. After she achieved her goal, that man became her greatest secret. Lin Yu gestured for Liu Yanqing to pour another cup of tea for him. He smiled and said, A dead man is the best at keeping secrets. Isn't that so? A woman's heart is the most vicious. Liu Yanqing said coldly. The man who had let her down was dead. She was not so jealous anymore. However, her hatred for Jiang Qingying had deepened. Actually, you should thank Jiang Qingying. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be able to see the true face of that man. Lin Yu smiled and said, It's better for him to betray you earlier than to betray you after getting your body. It doesn't matter. All men are the same. Liu Yanqing looked as if she had seen through the world of mortals. Lin Yu knew that she wanted to focus on her career. Since that's the case, let's get back to the topic. Lin Yu continued, I can give you the 3 lies glass bead. My men can also help you get rid of Jiang Qingying when you admire the flowers tomorrow. As for whether you dare to do it or not, it's up to you. After he finished his sentence, Liu Yanqing fell into silence. It's too risky. You're not reliable. Liu Yanqing looked at Lin Yu doubtfully. Qin Wenyan, I don't even know who you are. Lin Yu put down the teacup in his hand. Based on this name, do you dare do it? The teacup in his hand flew into the air. It formed 2 words. Lin Yu. Liu Yanqing's eyes widened. You really know him? Lin Yu did not belong to any force. However, he was the most popular person in the Sky Desert universe recently. Just based on the fact that the vast Abyss Sect Master was willing to spend 10 years to comprehend. This was enough to prove his power. I don't just know him. Chapter 603. Not only did they know each other, Liu Yanqing's expression changed again. Because she realized that when she said this, it meant that Lin Yu had something else to say that would surprise her. As expected, the next moment, Lin Yu tapped the back of his ears twice, and his disguise disappeared, revealing his original appearance. It was a face that was worth 10 years of comprehension in the great emperor realm. You are Lin Yu. Lu Yan took in a few cold breaths. Even though she was an earthly sovereign, her cultivation became unstable at this moment. She took a step forward and grabbed Lin Yu's hand instinctively. It was as though she was grabbing the great emperor's 10 years of comprehension. Are you really Lin Yu? Lu Yanqing looked at his face again. There was no mistake. His current appearance was Lin Yu's original appearance. There were no signs of disguise. Rumor has it that Lin Yu is in Songling Dao world now. Why are you here now? Lu Yanqing asked again. How can you guess what I do? Lin Yu stood with his hands behind his back. Since he was so famous now, he might as well keep a high profile. Only then would he be worthy of his fame. Lu Yanqing listened attentively. Lin Yu continued. If it was so easy for you to guess my whereabouts, then Song Yuan wouldn't have spent so much effort to capture me. Lu Yanqing felt that it made sense. He patted her shoulder. Lu Yanqing did not dodge. It seemed that being patted on the shoulder by a famous big shot would not make her feel like she was being taken advantage of by a man. Instead, she felt honored. Do you know why I'm showing my true appearance to you? Say, Senior, please tell me. Lu Yanqing swallowed. He was different from the people in Songling Dao world. The people there only had information about Lin Yu that his cultivation base was average. However, the people in Jadesil Dao world had a higher opinion of Lin Yu, including, he was someone who gave the great emperor a headache. He was a young genius who had 10 years of comprehension in the great emperor realm. He was the number one person below the great emperor realm of balance. There were many legends. It was enough for Lu Yanqing to call him senior. He thought of how Lin Yu had killed Ji Wuchang and his group of people from the Seven Fiends Hall of the Netherworld. Lu Yanqing suddenly felt. The person who appeared in front of him was a demon king. Swallowing his saliva, Lin Yu smiled faintly and said, Even the great emperor can't see through the way I do things. But I can see that your bones are amazing. You are a 1 in a million cultivation genius. Listen carefully. Lu Yanqing's heart beat even faster. It was as if he had been praised by a peerless big shot. Initially, she had wanted to capture Lin Yu on the spot and send him to the vast abyss Dao world for a reward. However, Lu Yanqing quickly dispelled the thought of seeking death. This man. He was someone who Dao lords were willing to sacrifice 10 years of their comprehension just to capture. How could a mere Earth sovereign like her be greedy? Unfortunately, the matter between you and Jiang Qingying has caused your natural talent to be buried slightly. I've already made my intentions clear. Now that I've given you an opportunity, it's up to you to grasp it. Senior, Lu Yanqing only felt that her throat was extremely dry. If she had used Qin Wunyan's identity to make the deal, Lu Yanqing might have hesitated. However, the person she was working with now was Lin Yu. The huge difference made Lu Yanqing change her mind immediately. Senior, I agree. Very good. Lin Yu nodded satisfactorily. You just have to wait for my signal to admire the flowers tomorrow. I understand. However, after this matter is settled, Lu Yanqing was still somewhat worried. It was mainly because Lin Yu's reputation was too great. Lu Yanqing was worried that she would be in danger if she worked with such a person. The next moment, the latter hugged Lu Yanqing's willowy waist. When she wanted to resist, she was shocked to find that Lin Yu's strength was unusually great. Senior, you're a combat cultivator. I have many secrets that you don't know. Remember, I'm working with you. After this matter is settled, you will be the only tower master of the glazed, moon-stepping tower. Do you understand? Lin Yu stared at Lu Yanqing's eyes with an invasive gaze. The latter could only dodge. She lowered her head and nodded a few times. I understand. I'll take my leave then. Lin Yu let go of her. Lu Yanqing bowed and prepared to leave. However, she was stopped by Lin Yu again. I have one more thing for you to do. He transmitted his voice, and Zhang Qingxue appeared immediately. After Lin Yu said that, Zhang Qingxue took out the hairpin inlaid with the 3 lives colored glass beads. Master, Zhang Qingxue handed it over with both hands. She also saw Lu Yanqing, who was beside Lin Yu. Her heart was beating very fast. This person was the high and mighty second tower master of the glazed, moon-stepping tower. Why would she appear in master's room? So the person on the bed just now was her? You can leave first, Lin Yu said. Zhang Qingxue suppressed the curiosity in her heart. She would not ask too much. If it was time for her to know, Lin Yu would take the initiative to tell her. He would not tell her now. It could only mean that it was not the right time yet. Zhang Qingxue closed the door carefully. Lu Yanqing asked anxiously, "Will she spread our secret? My people are more reliable than anyone else." Lin Yu said indifferently. His tone was calm, but it was frightening to Lu Yanqing. It was like an emperor speaking to his new subject. As expected, this lad was very powerful. I understand. Lu Yanqing suddenly thought of the beautiful girl who was caught by the glazed moon-stepping tower. It turned out that she was Lin Yu's woman. This time, Jiang Qingying and Hong Binglu had really kicked an iron plate. Fortunately, I did not take action. Lu Yanqing secretly rejoiced. The next moment, Lin Yu handed the hairpin to her. If you only rely on the 3 lives colored glass beads, I'm afraid you will need a few more days to recover from your injuries. Lin Yu touched his chin and thought of an idea. Fine. Since you and I are fated to meet, I'll give you a chance. Lin Yu stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He had an unfathomable expression. This made Lu Yanqing even more excited. Lie down on the bed first. I'll check your injuries. After saying that, Lin Yu placed the 3 lives colored glass beads in Lu Yanqing's hands. This made Lu Yanqing feel warm. They had not started working together, and he had already given her the treasure. How could Lu Yanqing not feel happy about Lin Yu's actions? I'm just lending it to you. You have to return it to my person. After all, I've already given it to her. Seeing that this woman's emotions were fluctuating because of him, Lin Yu reminded her. He was afraid that she would misunderstand. After hearing this, Lu Yanqing suddenly felt that Lin Yu's image had become even more noble. This was a man with principles. Senior, is that so? Lu Yanqing lay on Lin Yu's bed. The latter walked to the side of the bed. Take off your clothes. This, Lu Yanqing's expression changed immediately. You're only taking off your outer clothes. How can I check through so many clothes? Phew. Lu Yanqing heaved a sigh of relief. She could accept the outer clothes. Chapter 604. He removed the purple robe that symbolized his identity as the tower master of the glazed, moon-stepping tower. Lin Yu stretched out his hand and pressed on Lu Yanqing's Tianshu acupoint. She only felt a stab of pain. Senior, please be gentle. Lu Yanqing couldn't help but say, it seems that your energy C is injured. Lin Yu changed a few more acupoints. Guan Yuan acupoint. Qihai acupoint. Lu Yanqing was not in as much pain as before. Senior, why did it only hurt for the first time? Many things are like this, Lin Yu said casually. Lu Yanqing was stunned. She suddenly thought of something and her face burned. I roughly know where your injury is. Lin Yu retracted his hand and gestured for her to sit up. Your injury is very serious. If you don't treat it immediately, it might affect your breakthrough to the heavenly supreme level in the future. Lu Yanqing's body trembled. On the path of martial arts, one's future progress was their life. If Lu Yanqing was told that she could not break through in the future, it was no different from taking her life. Senior, what should I do? She could choose not to believe what others said. However, the person who spoke was Lin Yu. She had no choice but to believe him. I have a cultivation technique that can help you heal. If it is used together with the 3 lives glazed pearl, you should be able to recover to your peak tomorrow and even increase your skills greatly. Lu Yanqing felt as if she had received a treasure. She tugged at Lin Yu's sleeve. Senior, please teach me. She was full of admiration. This person was indeed a man that even a vast abyss sect master could not deal with. If you really want to learn, you have to listen to me in the future. It will be the same even if you become the tower master of the glazed, moon-stepping tower. Lu Yanqing was not a fool. How could she not understand what he meant? Shortly after, she got down from the bed and knelt down in front of Lin Yu. Disciple Lu Yanqing greets master. I have strict requirements for accepting disciples. Are you sure you want to be my disciple? Lin Yu looked down. Lu Yanqing nodded. Master has said that I will definitely satisfy your requirements. Very good. Get up. Lin Yu helped her up and smiled in his heart. Zhang Qingshua's power was improving slowly, and Lu Yanqing was the best candidate to harmonize the laws of nature. Get on the bed. Master will teach you how to cultivate. Lin Yu spoke again. Lu Yanqing felt that something was amiss, but she was still overjoyed. Today was like a dream. She had only wanted to obtain the 3 lives colored glass bead, but she had not only obtained it, she had also become the disciple of the famous Lin Yu. According to what Lin Yu said, he still had to take down Jiang Qingying tomorrow and take revenge. This great kindness was enough for Lu Yanqing to be loyal and obedient to Lin Yu. The first step is to interlock your fingers, Lin Yu said as he raised his hands. This was the first time Lu Yanqing had physical contact with a man. Moreover, she had already done it with Lin Yu several times today. However, when she thought about how the other party was her master and was treating her injuries, Lu Yanqing scolded herself. Master is treating your injuries. What are you thinking? After convincing herself, Lu Yanqing's slender fingers, which were slightly cold, interlocked with Lin Yu's fingers. In the next moment, she felt a strong and domineering masculine yang energy coming from Lin Yu's palm. It's so hot. Lu Yanqing immediately closed her eyes. At the same time, her aura was forming in her body. What is this feeling? Lu Yanqing felt her whole body going numb. Her yin energy was mobilized by Lin Yu's law of harmony. The 3 lives colored glass bead also separated from the hairpin and floated in front of the 2 of them. Lin Yu and Lu Yanqing quickly entered a state of cultivation. Compared to Zhang Qingxue, Lu Yanqing's supreme cultivation allowed Lin Yu to unleash his full strength. The power of the 3 lives become one erupted. Lin Yu made use of Lu Yanqing's supreme cultivation to balance the 3 lives become one. When the 9 luminaries golden pill was restored to its perfect state, he would be able to step into the second heaven. At this very moment, Lu Yanqing only felt that the power from Lin Yu was extremely strong. It was actually on par with her power that was operating with all her strength. As expected, her master was not an ordinary person in the law realm. Lu Yanqing remembered that night when she and Hong Binglu attacked together. They were still unable to take down Lin Yu. This was enough to show how strong the other party's real combat power was below the law realm. The cultivation lasted for a day and a night. When Lin Yu opened his eyes again, Lu Yanqing was ready to leave. At this moment, she was refreshed. She did not look as pale as yesterday. Lin Yu was even more so. The backlash caused by the imbalance of the 3 lives become one had been temporarily suppressed. Thank you, Master. Lu Yanqing clasped her fists and returned the 3 lives colored glass bead to Lin Yu. Go and prepare. Don't give yourself away for the time being. Lin Yu instructed. Lu Yanqing nodded and became more excited. Jiang Qingying, it has been so many years. It's time to settle the score with you. After Lu Yanqing left, Zhang Qingxue and the 10 Supreme Masters came. Master, let's set off. Okay. Lin Yu nodded. Everyone had already arrived at the square. This time, the city gate between the square and the glazed moon-stepping tower had been opened. People from Tian'an sect and Earth Fire Burning Pavilion came to the training hall. Lin Yu even saw the feminine Dao Feng from yesterday in the crowd. Interesting. Lin Yu smiled. Mo Xian from Tian'an sect looked over. There was a strange look in her eyes. However, Lin Yu did not care about this, because he knew that Ling Chongfeng was also looking at him. I don't know if you can't help but come and snatch the 9 luminaries golden pill if I reveal a flaw. Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth. Whether or not he could continue to cooperate with Tian'an sect would depend on Ling Chongfeng's performance. At this moment, the back of the square was suddenly in an uproar. The earth shook. A huge black shadow came from the glazed moon-stepping tower behind the square. The black shadow was 1,000 feet tall. Every step it took, there was a violent vibration. Even the people in the square, who were quite a distance away, everyone was also attracted by this vibration. Demonic beast, big demonic beast. Could it be the guardian demonic beast of the glazed moon-stepping tower? I haven't seen it for so many years. I wonder how big that thing has grown. The black shadow approached. First, it revealed a thick elephant trunk. As it walked, the elephant trunk swept casually, and it actually caused a storm. Big land demonic beast, yak elephant. Zhang Qingxue and the others looked nervous. When they took a closer look, the huge beast was a yak elephant with wings. However, the huge meat wings on its back seemed to be unable to take off on that cumbersome body. It was simply spread behind its back, but it was difficult to wave. This thing should have the combat power of a supreme master. It is indeed a supreme master demonic beast. Behind Lin Yu, the 10 supreme masters also quickly judged the strength of the yak elephant. At this moment, on top of the yak elephant, surprisingly, there was an altar there. On the altar, a woman knelt in front of it. At this moment, her head was lowered, and her body was covered in blood. Chapter 605. Every time the yak elephant stomped on the ground, it would cause the ground to tremble violently. As for the woman on the elephant wings, the chains around her body tightened a little as she trembled. Her hands, legs, and neck were all shackled with heavy black chains. She could not move. She could only lower her head and bear the pain silently. As for her body, there were tens of bloody wounds on it. As Liu Yanqing had said, she had gone through the cruelest punishment of the glazed moon treading tower. She had not told them how to activate the sky reflecting mirror. The final punishment of the glazed moon treading tower was to drag out a beautiful woman in front of a large crowd and expose her to the public. By doing so, the people who would be attracted to her would be none other than those lechers who coveted her beauty. The ultimate goal of the glazed moon treading tower was to destroy her chastity. The most irreparable harm to a girl was to destroy her chastity. Master, is she the one we want to save? Zhang Qingxue's breathing quickened. Even though they were quite a distance away, she could still feel the pain of the girl on the yak. The glazed moon treading tower is too inhumane. I heard that Jiang Qingying is ruthless. It seems that it is true. What is so attractive about the silver-white mirror that Jiang Qingying would be so shameless? They have put in a lot of effort to make this year's Flower Appreciation Festival start with this girl. While the crowd was discussing, they saw the 9-colored flame burning fiercely behind the girl in crimson clothes. It was obvious. It was an altar. The 9-colored flame danced on the altar, emitting a terrifyingly high temperature. Even though they were far away, the crowd could feel the scorching heat. Even a yak on the back of the altar looked uncomfortable. From time to time, it would howl in pain. Above the 9-colored flame, a silver-white mirror with a diameter of 10 feet was suspended in the air. Even though it was in the 9-colored flame, the silver mirror did not seem to have any reaction. It was still extremely transparent. However, the surface of the mirror was visibly cracking. Is that the mirror that the glazed moon treading tower wants us to unlock? What kind of treasure can a broken mirror be? Is a glazed moon treading tower sick? Of course not. I heard that this thing has been burning for a whole month, but there is still no change. 9-colored flame is the hottest flame in the jade silk world. The 9 luminaries golden elixir can only be refined using it. No other treasure can last so long under the 9-colored flame, Yi Futian said. It seems that the silver mirror is not as simple as it seems. No wonder the glazed moon treading tower is making such a big fuss to unravel the secret of the silver mirror. At this moment, the yak had already arrived at the square. The disciples of the glazed moon treading tower around the yak elephant stopped in their tracks and waited. Below, Tianhun sect, Lin Yu's camp, Earth Fire Heaven Burning Pavilion. Dozens of smaller sects and factions also remained silent as they looked towards the back of the square. In the sky above, the 3 figures stepped through the air. Originally, they were still thousands of feet away. However, the 3 of them had shrunk the ground into inches. With a single step, they had already arrived on top of the yak. They were scattered around the altar. On the right, Hong Binglu looked down with an indifferent expression. On the left, Liu Yanqing pretended that she had not recovered from her injuries. She deliberately applied some white makeup on her face. At this moment, she also glanced at Lin Yu. She remembered that after Lin Yu had checked her body yesterday, her cultivation had completely recovered. Lu Yanqing's gratitude was beyond words. Everyone, between the two of them, a cold-looking woman who seemed unapproachable, spoke slowly. Her voice rang out. Everyone felt a sense of crisis in their cultivation base. This was because the person who had spoken was the glazed, moon-treading tower's first tower master, the heavenly supreme, Jiang Qingying. Jiang Qingying was dressed in a golden robe, which was obviously of a higher quality than what Lu Hong and Lu Yanqing were wearing. She stood with her hands clasped behind her back, looking down at the crowd. Her tone was emotionless. I will personally host the third round of the Flower Appreciation Festival. Jiang Qingying raised her hand, pointed at little Mimi, and said, "My disciple betrayed the sect and obtained the silver mirror treasure under my guidance." With a sigh, Jiang Qingying seemed to have expected better from her, and she continued, "But this inferior disciple was selfish and refused to tell us the chant to unlock the seal of the sect's precious treasure. Today, I've invited everyone here to see who can unlock the secret of the silver mirror and allow my inferior disciple to understand where she went wrong." A few high-sounding words made everyone think that Jiang Qingying was the victim. This girl is lucky to have Tower Master Jiang as her master. She actually doesn't know how to cherish it. If I had such a good master like the first Tower Master, I would have given the treasure to my master immediately. This girl should be taught a lesson. Stupid girl, what are you waiting for? Tell us how to unlock the silver mirror now. Everyone was angry and scolded little Mimi in unison. The latter only lowered her head, as if she could not hear these harsh words at all. Half of her face was covered by her hair. In addition to the bloodstains on her face, her appearance should not be seen clearly. However, how could that delicate outline and the fair and translucent skin beside the bloodstains escape the eyes of the men below? Especially Ling Chongfeng, whose eyes were wide open at this moment. She is even more beautiful than my junior sister. There is actually such a stunning beauty in the world. Ling Chongfeng swallowed and glanced at Lin Yu from the corner of his eye, revealing a cold, murderous intent. If he was asked to give up such a beautiful woman, Ling Chongfeng could not do it at all. On the other hand, Lin Yu's side did not care about Ling Chongfeng's thoughts. It was just that he had been wondering why little Mimi had become a disciple of the glazed moon-treading tower. Now that he thought it through, this disciple status was just a reason that Jiang Qingying wanted to save her face and forcibly added it. Everyone is free to come up. I will give this disciple to whoever can unlock the silver mirror seal. Jiang Qingying spoke again, and at the same time, reached out her right hand and slapped little Mimi's face. Smack! Stupid disciple, this is your last chance. If you don't tell me the truth, today will be the anniversary of your death. She snorted coldly and took a few steps back. She also motioned for the others to come up at any time. They would use any method to find out the way to unlock the seal. Who will go first? This thing can't even be refined by the 9-colored flame. It seems that it is impossible to open it by force. Then you know that the stunning beauty will tell you the way. Pity, such a beautiful woman. She's going to be ours today. The next moment, immediately, 3 big men flew up onto the yak elephant's back. They sneered, their eyes full of greed. The leader bowed and asked Jiang Qingying, "Head Tower Master, can we use any method?" "Of course." Jiang Qingying nodded without hesitation. Behind her, Lu Yanqing looked nervous and was still waiting for Lin Yu's instructions. Her heart was also in her throat. If she really fought with Jiang Qingying, there would be no turning back. Then we won't stand on ceremony. The 3 big men could not help but rub their fists and move closer to little Mimi. "Pretty girl, your big brothers are here. Either you tell us the method to unlock the seal, or your big brothers will make that thing of yours speak." In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them were already in front of little Mimi. They were 5 feet away, 4 feet, 3 feet. The leader reached out, wanting to grab little Mimi's shoulder and take off her clothes. However, when his arm was 7 inches away from little Mimi, it broke. A black scythe slashed across the air in front of him. Chapter 606. Blood splattered. The three burly men were shocked. They only sensed that this was the first time in their lives that they had encountered such a strong life and death crisis. The moment they wanted to retreat, the Grim Reaper had already drowned the three of them. Astonishment. This scene happened too quickly. Not many people could react in time. Only a small number of people, Jiang Qingying, Lu Yanqing, Hong Binglu, Ling Chongfeng, and the Archemperor, looked in the direction of the black sickle. It was a young man who had been calm since the beginning. However, he slowly lowered his hand at this moment. Step by step, he was approaching the yak elephant. Qin Wunyan, that kid dared to kill. Did you see his attack just now? Why couldn't I see it clearly at all? While everyone was puzzled, Lin Yu had already arrived below the yak elephant. His eyes were like an ancient well without ripples, clear and calm. At this moment, his eyes met the eyes of the beautiful woman on the yak elephant with her head lowered. He did not look like Lin Yu. However, at this moment, the heart of the girl on the yak elephant was already trembling violently. Appearances could change. However, she would never be wrong about this look. Lin Yu leave quickly. Little Mimi's tears kept glistening. She knew her current situation. Before coming out of the Tao world of Fong, the strongest existence she had faced was only the first on the blacklist who had just become an Earth Supreme. However, after leaving the Tao world of Fong, especially when she was captured and brought to the glazed moon treading tower, only then did she know that there were people beyond the heavens. The three tower lords here, all of them were stronger than the first on the blacklist, especially the heavenly supreme, Jiang Qingying. People of this level were not people Lin Yu could deal with. She did not want Lin Yu to take the risk. Go! Little Mimi did not make a sound. However, Lin Yu was familiar with the shape of her mouth and the shape of the word. She believed that Lin Yu would be able to see it. However, Lin Yu did not stop. He stepped into the air and approached her. You brat! Why are you so reckless now? Hurry up and leave. Little Mimi was so agitated that she wanted to persuade Lin Yu to leave, but her injuries were too severe. Even when she opened her mouth, she could only speak in a hoarse and unclear voice. Lin Yu quickly approached little Mimi. However, at this moment, at the bottom of the square, a divine sense cultivation technique suddenly bombarded him. Lin Yu reacted quickly, and the wings on his back turned golden. His entire body was enveloped in the light of the golden winged rock, and he clashed head-on with the divine sense attack. Rumble. The sound was deafening. Only then did everyone recover from the sudden outbreak of the battle. In the direction of the Tianhun school, a figure clapped his hands and looked at Lin Yu as if he was looking at a dead man. Young Master Qin, it's hard to find a beauty. Why don't you let me play with you? The one who attacked was the junior headmaster of the Tianhun school, Ling Chongfeng. Zhang Qingxue looked over. She was worried about Lin Yu, and her heart tightened. As expected, his master was right. This lecher couldn't move once he saw a beautiful woman. He was openly destroying the cooperation between him and Lin Yu. Senior brother, Emo Xian gritted her teeth. Do you know what you're doing? Junior sister, don't be anxious. Ling Chongfeng sneered. That Qin Wunyan was hit by my Tianhun attack first, and his divine sense has been severely injured by me. Senior brother will kill him and snatch the 9 luminaries' golden pill back. Ling Chongfeng seemed to have thought of his harvest. At that time, the 9 luminaries' golden pill will be mine, and the beauty will also be mine, haha. As he spoke, Ling Chongfeng's figure exploded again, turning into a series of afterimages, and attacked Lin Yu again. He concluded, the unexpected move just now had already hit Lin Yu. Even if someone as strong as the Archemperor was hit by this move, his head would probably be buzzing, let alone this trash in the law realm. Kid, no one can snatch a woman in front of me. Ling Chongfeng raised his palm, overflowing with murderous intent toward Lin Yu, who seemed to be in a bad state. Die for me. His cultivation transformed into divine sense and gathered in his palm. It was the strongest killing move of the Tianhun sect. Master, don't worry. 7th young master, the envoy is fine. The 10 Supremes held back Zhang Qingxue, who almost rushed out. But Zhang Qingxue and little Mimi, Lu Yanqing, They were all shocked by Ling Chongfeng's sneak attack. But in the next moment, Lin Yu, who had his head lowered and seemed to be unable to recover after being hit by Ling Chongfeng, smiled. "Isn't it good to be alive?" A calm sentence entered Ling Chongfeng's ears. In an instant, he only felt that his whole body was cold from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. It was a trap. Ling Chongfeng was not a fool. He immediately withdrew his move and retreated. However, the air wall blocked his path of retreat. It was a wall of golden light, and on the wall of qi, there were complex lines that gradually lit up. As the patterns lit up, they emitted Buddhist chants, which spread endlessly toward Ling Chongfeng. Every Buddhist voice was a type of divine while rumbling. Everyone outside could only see that a huge golden bell suddenly appeared around Ling Chongfeng and Lin Yu. The golden bell spun rapidly, setting off countless cyclones. And Ling Chongfeng was inside. His divine sense had been bombarded like never before. Let me out. Other than the Garuda, it was the third part of the 8 Great Void Divisions, the invincible divine sense technique of the Garuda. At this moment, Ling Chongfeng was inside. Here, it was the forbidden zone of Garuda's divine sense. Only one person could survive in this place. That was the user of Garuda's divine sense technique, Lin Yu. Ling Chongfeng gradually narrowed his eyes. Since the Garuda started to operate, he did not even have a chance to attack. If you were an Earth's supreme level divine cultivator, you might be able to escape, Lin Yu said lightly. It's a pity that the Tianhun sect's divine cultivation method is just trash. He finished his sentence. Ling Chongfeng was already kneeling on the ground in front of him. We are partners. From the moment you attacked me, we were no longer partners. Lin Yu turned around. Ling Chongfeng thought that the other party would let him go. After all, he was the young master of Tianhun sect, the future master of Tianhun sect. Others had to give him face. But Ling Chongfeng had forgotten Ji Wuchang's lesson. The next moment, a devouring force came from inside the golden bell. That was the divine sense great emperor's soul-devouring technique. No. His divine sense was devoured. Between Lin Yu's eyebrows, an even more complicated talisman could be vaguely seen, which was shining at this moment. Ling Chongfeng's divine sense was completely sucked into this talisman by the soul-devouring technique. Go ahead and get the power you need, Lin Yu murmured. Inside the golden bell, others could not see what was happening. However, those mournful cries continued to shake their minds, especially the people of Tianhun sect. They naturally recognized that it was Ling Chongfeng's cry, but they did not dare to attack. Even Mo Xianxian, who was leading, did not make a move. Chapter 607. Senior Sister, are we really not going to save Junior Master? Junior Master and Qin Wunyan had a fair fight. Junior Master has already ambushed Qin Wunyan and won. What happens next has nothing to do with us, Mo Xianxian said. The others immediately understood. If they couldn't win with a sneak attack, the Heavenly Soul sect didn't have the face to attack again. And they could tell. Mo Xianxian didn't want to save Ling Chongfeng, because the other party was Mo Xianxian's biggest and most unfair competitor. The devouring power of the talisman began to operate. Ling Chongfeng's cultivation was constantly being sucked into the talisman. This was what Lin Yu discovered after obtaining the talisman. This thing needed to be charged. Once it was fully charged, it might help him find the whereabouts of the other 3 talismans. And even if it wasn't fully charged, Lin Yu could still use the devouring power of the talisman, just like Ling Chongfeng's supreme will. If the attribute was suitable, it might make up for the flaw of the 9 luminaries' golden pill. Soon, the Buddha Garuda disappeared. Only Ling Chongfeng was left behind Lin Yu. Ling Chongfeng didn't seem to have changed. His divine will was destroyed by the soul-devouring technique and the Buddha Garuda, and his cultivation was completely absorbed by the talisman. Ling Chongfeng was already deader than dead, but Lin Yu had his back facing him the whole time. Ling Chongfeng's storage ring had been taken away by him. This person didn't even have the interest to kill and rob. Lin Yu's gaze met little Mimi's, and he stepped on the air again. But in the next moment, the person in front of him. It was the third pavilion master, Hong Binglu. You are indeed the thief from that night. Hong Binglu's stern voice sounded. Trespassing into the forbidden area of the glazed moon stepping tower, you deserve to die. What's going on? The glazed moon stepping tower actually went against Qin Wunyan. That kid is too overbearing. Even a glazed moon stepping tower can't stand it anymore. While everyone was discussing, in the direction of the earthly flame heaven-burning pavilion, the Archemperor's huge body stepped on the ground, and a huge crater appeared in the square. With that, the Archemperor shot toward Lin Yu at top speed. Third floor master, let me help you take down this little thief. Hong Binglu and the Archemperor were both paragons. Lin Yu's expression didn't even change. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. He spoke slowly. His voice wasn't loud, but the 10 great supremes heard it. The Archemperor also heard what was being said. These 3 people were the ones who killed Ji Wuchang. Sure enough, 3 of the 10 great supremes made a move. Lin Yu slowly pointed at the Archemperor. He was ordering the 3 of them to work together to deal with the Archemperor. Damn it, why didn't you go deal with Hong Binglu? As the Archemperor slowed down, he saw that 7, 8, and 9 were all attacking at the same time. Number 8 and number 9 attacked him crazily. Number 7 went to fight the other disciples of the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion. As for the axe, they were halfway through their journey. Lin Yu faced Hong Binglu. He said the second sentence. Number 5 and number 6, keep them alive. What the hell are you talking about? Hong Binglu's eyes went wide as she looked in the direction of the Archemperor. She had gathered some information about Ji Wuchang's death, but now that she was seeing it with her own eyes, she couldn't help but feel nervous. As of this moment, the Archemperor was facing off against 2 people who were only in the realm of laws, and yet he was at a disadvantage. You're still in the mood to look around? Suddenly, a terrifying force swept toward her from behind. It moved with such speed that Hong Binglu, despite being an Earth Paragon, had no time to dodge. Shockingly, the attacker was also an Earth Paragon. Lin Yu had given the title of number 5, an old man in ordinary gray robes. Next to him was another person, a cold expression on his face. Emperor Moonchaser, be careful you don't kill him. The emissary said that we could take him alive. That person warned him. Lin Yu had given him the title of number 6. The obstacles in front of him had been cleared. Lin Yu walked over to little Mimi. I'm here. His voice was calm. There was no emotion. But to little Mimi, that was the most reassuring thing she had heard since they parted. In an instant, 2 streaks of tears flowed out of little Mimi's clear eyes. At first, she had been worried about Lin Yu. But when she saw the Archemperor and Hong Binglu being suppressed by Lin Yu's people, little Mimi knew. During this time, Lin Yu had become even stronger. This young man would always walk in front of everyone in the Tao world. He was like a ray of light, guiding them in the dark universe. At this moment, as Lin Yu approached, the heaven-reflecting mirror began to vibrate. There, a vague consciousness was sending a signal to Lin Yu. Old friend, it seems you still need some time. Lin Yu smiled faintly. No one knew who he was talking to. But when the voice came, the heaven-reflecting mirror stopped vibrating. Lin Yu pulled little Mimi into his arms. The Emperor's sword in his other hand was unsheathed and instantly cut off the shackles on her hands and feet. Little Mimi regained her freedom, but she still lay weakly in Lin Yu's arms. Below, Zhang Qingxue, Dao Feng, and countless others were watching this scene. Everyone knew very well this beautiful woman belonged to Lin Yu. At this moment, little Mimi only felt that Lin Yu's arms were the safest place in the universe. At the same time, the glazed moon stepping tower's first tower master, Jiang Qingying, cast a murderous gaze. You can unlock the mirror. Jiang Qingying slowly walked over and approached Lin Yu. Her Supreme will also soared at the same time. 1 will. Metal-type Supreme will. 2 will. Wood-type Supreme will. 3 will. Water type supreme will. 4 will. Fire type supreme will. 5 will. Earth type supreme will. 5 elements as one. She was a 1-star sky supreme. Tell me how to open it. Jiang Qingying and Lin Yu were less than 3 feet apart. There was a hint of command and warning in her tone. I can leave your corpse intact. This was the aura of a woman who had been in a high position for a long time and instinctively ignored everything. Lin Yu, she is very powerful, little Mimi said worriedly. However, Lin Yu's lips curled into a smile. He said something that puzzled Jiang Qingying. Aren't you going to attack? As soon as he finished his words, suddenly, behind Jiang Qingying, 4 terrifying Supreme will attacked at the same time. 4-star Earth Supreme, Lu Yanqing unleashed all her combat abilities. Her first attack was a sure kill move. Slut, how dare you betray me? Jiang Qingying's face was ghastly pale. However, there was excitement on her face. There was no fear at all. This was because her Sky Supreme skills were the source of her confidence. She faced Lu Yanqing in one move. Although Jiang Qingying had made the first move, Lu Yanqing still retreated a few steps. She was at a disadvantage with just one move. This was the difference between a Sky Supreme and an Earth Supreme, although it was just a Supreme will. However, the difference was in the 5 elements. However, at the same time, Lin Yu shouted the second sentence. Number 0. Chapter 608. The 10 Supreme Supremes were named according to the strength that Lin Yu judged. Number 0. He was the strongest among the 10 Supreme Supremes. He was also the only Heavenly Supreme. When Lin Yu said number 0, Jiang Qingying's expression changed drastically. Her 5 strands of 9 Heaven Supreme will began to vibrate. This was the mutual fear between heavenly sovereigns. Who exactly are you? Jiang Qingying's eyes widened. Her confidence in strategizing just now was shaken at this moment. A Heavenly Supreme was present, and he stood on the opposite side of her. The outcome of this battle was hard to predict. Behind Lin Yu, a burly old man walked over slowly. He was given the name number 0. He was the strongest person that Lin Yu had brought this time. Jiang Qingying pushed Lu Yanqing back with a palm, but she was instantly enveloped by the old man's aura again. The old man had many wrinkles on his face, but at this moment his upper body was burning without fire, revealing incomparably strong muscles. His combat body was strong and was actually not inferior to the young Archemperor. I am number 0. Also the Emperor of the Zhongling Dao world's undying dynasty, Fentian. On the orders of the emissary, I am here to take your life. His words were the same as Jiang Qingying's. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth. Number 0 raised his hand, and his cultivation was activated to the extreme. In an instant, the sky changed color. The wind and clouds in the sky rolled down. It converged with the 5 Supreme Supremes to form a palm force. This palm force was earth-shattering and instantly enveloped the entire glass, moon-treading tower. A dignified Heavenly Supreme actually obeys the orders of a brat who is still wet behind the ears. You have lost all the dignity of a Heavenly Supreme. Jiang Qingying's angry voice sounded. She raised her hands, and the 5-element Supreme Supremes also condensed. However, she did not forget to use words to disturb the other party's Dao heart. If it were at the beginning when they left the Zhongling Dao world, number 0 might be a little dissatisfied with Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu could automatically see the strength ranking of the 10 Supreme Supremes at a glance. After coming to the glass moon-treading tower, the various decisions made were enough for number 0 to be sure that Lin Yu was qualified to order them. Those who know him are afraid of his extraordinariness. What's the harm in killing those who don't know him? 0 sneered. Only those who knew Lin Yu knew how powerful he was, and he didn't understand. Lin Yu didn't care. As for people like Ji Wucheng and Ling Chongfeng, Lin Yu really didn't like them, so why not kill them? Haha, it's been a long time since I've met someone more arrogant than my glazed moon-treading tower. Jiang Qingying laughed harshly. The people from the Zhongling Dao world stepped on my jade silk Dao world. After I kill you, I will personally settle the score with the people from the Tsangling Dao world. With a burst of power, the 3 lives colored glass bead appeared between Jiang Qingying's eyebrows. It wasn't just one. There were 3 of them. She alone would forever possess 3 lives colored glass beads. 1,000 years. There was no less than 3,000 years worth of skill here. But even so, Zero's expression didn't change at all. He could tell from Lu Yanqing's betrayal. The emissary had already arranged everything. There was no one present who could defeat Lin Yu. Rumble. The battle between the upper sky supremes had begun, and below, Lin Yu ordered Lu Yanqing again. Kill Hong Binglu first. The voice came. At this moment, Lu Yanqing was already clear about Lin Yu's strength. This guy had hidden himself too deeply. He actually had the help of a heavenly supreme. No wonder he dared to make a move in the territory of the glazed moon treading tower. The 4 battlefields were on the verge of breaking out. The Supreme Realm. Hong Binglu was facing 4 Supreme Realm experts at the same time and was retreating. The Archemperor's side also couldn't hold on for long. Even if all the disciples of the earthly fire heaven-burning pavilion attacked, the Archemperor didn't bring many people this time. At this moment, he suffered heavy losses and was also hit by number 8's fist. His battle body was greatly damaged, and he wanted to escape in a sorry state. But Lin Yu gave a death order. On the other side were the female disciples of the glazed moon treading tower, including the woman who gave Lin Yu a coquettish look earlier. They were all intercepted by number 2 and number 3. These 2 were 4-star earthly sovereigns. They were only 1 step away from the heavenly supreme realm. After they attacked, the disciples of the glazed moon treading tower kept retreating. In the end, they were all suppressed. On the last battlefield, Jiang Qingying and number 0 were originally evenly matched. But as the other 3 parties won the battle, the 10 Supreme Realm experts and Lu Yanqing attacked at the same time. Jiang Qingying instantly became a lone fighter. At this moment, in front of Lin Yu, there was another young man. No one knew when he came to the yak. No one cared about him. This young man looked less than 20 years old, but he had a deep sense of coldness. In his hand was a big saber. The young man was only 5 feet tall. He was 2 heads shorter than Lin Yu, but the saber on his shoulder was longer than his body. "Don't you plan to attack?" The young man said indifferently, looking at Lin Yu. And he was the feminine Dao Feng who defeated many experts yesterday. "I don't need to attack anymore," Lin Yu said casually. Even little Mimi, who was a half-step to earthly sovereign, felt a sense of crisis when she faced the feminine blade seal. This sense of crisis was no less than when facing Jiang Qingying. But Lin Yu was still casual. Little Mimi was sure that with Lin Yu's ability, he must have seen that the feminine Dao Feng was not ordinary. But since he was so calm, it meant that Lin Yu had a way to deal with him. "The people of the glazed moon treading tower are no match for you," the feminine Dao Feng continued, "but I can't let you snatch the person I want." His gaze fell on little Mimi. Little Mimi's heart tightened. But Lin Yu smiled. "Don't worry, he's not talking about you." "Huh?" Little Mimi blinked. The feminine Dao Feng was also surprised and looked at Lin Yu. "Do you know who I'm looking for?" "Jiang Qingying," Lin Yu said without thinking. At this moment, 10 earthly sovereigns attacked at the same time, and Jiang Qingying was defeated in less than 10 minutes. The sky regained its original color. Below, the heavenly sovereign Jiang Qingying, who was high and mighty just now, had her hands trapped by number 0 and number 1. Lu Yanqing took away her 3 glazed pearls, and number 8 also punched her, causing great damage to her combat body. Although her cultivation was strong, her combat body could not withstand more than a few blows when facing a Supreme Realm combat practitioner. Of course, if there were no other Supreme Realm combatants, number 8 would not be Jiang Qingying's match. "Lu Yanqing, you dare to collude with outsiders and betray the sect. If Master knows, he will not let you off." Jiang Qingying stared at Lu Yanqing. In the battle just now, she had fought with all her might and hit herself the hardest. Slap! Lu Yanqing did not say anything, but raised her hand. A slap landed squarely on Jiang Qingying's face. "This slap is because you seduced my man." As soon as she said that, Jiang Qingying's expression changed. The other female disciples who had been suppressed also had a little surprise on their originally frightened faces. The second house master betrayed the sect because the first house master seduced her man. Slap. A second slap sounded. This slap is because you took away my position. Lu Yanqing took a deep breath and suppressed the resentment in her heart. She also knew that it was not the time for her to give orders. She was the one who made the decision. Above the yak elephant. Master, Lu Yanqing bowed to Lin Yu. Jiang Qingying harmed Master's wife. Please punish her. Chapter 609. Master. Lu Yanqing's master was actually Qin Wunyan. As soon as he said that, the others were even more shocked, especially Jiang Qingying, who was caught. She knew Lu Yanqing's character. She had never been convinced by anyone. Unexpectedly, she actually took the initiative to admit that the teenager in front of her was her master. If it was in the past, Lu Yanqing would definitely be mocked by others. The first person to think that she was crazy might be Jiang Qingying. But now, Lin Yu killed Hong Binglu and suppressed Jiang Qingying. This was the title of Lu Yanqing's master. The others had no choice but to accept it. Jiang Qingying's life, Lin Yu had just opened his mouth. The feminine Dao Feng at the side blocked in front of Lin Yu with a seemingly ordinary iron blade in his hand. I need this person. Can you give him to me? Seeing that Lin Yu was blocked, the 10 Great Supremes were about to attack. However, Lin Yu raised his hand and signaled them not to move. Let me talk to him, Lin Yu said gently. Little Mimi in his arms was also supported to the side by Zhang Qingxue. Lin Yu took out a large amount of glory bot and let Zhang Qingxue heal little Mimi. As for him, he smiled at the feminine Dao Feng and said, in this situation, do you have the confidence to take Jiang Qingying away from me? I admit that you're not bad, the feminine Dao Feng said faintly. However, the person who can make me lose the courage to attack has not been born yet. I can give anything a try. That's right. Lin Yu, on the other hand, was not angered by the other party's words. Instead, he smiled and said, after so many years, the Killing Heart Palace finally has a good successor, right? Turning his head, Lin Yu and the feminine Dao Feng's eyes met. You know me? The latter was obviously surprised. This was his first time leaving the Killing Heart Palace. Furthermore, the Killing Heart Palace was not in the Jade Silk world. Logically speaking, it was impossible for the people here to recognize him. Killing Heart Palace? He's from the Killing Heart Palace. Legend has it that the Murderous Heart Palace was created by Saber Sovereign Gue Rulai, the strongest expert in the infinite Dao world. After establishing the Murderous Heart Palace, Gue Rulai was also known as Buddha Murderous Heart. I didn't expect the people from the infinite Dao world to come to my Jade Silk Dao world. If it wasn't for Qin Wunyan recognizing him, we still wouldn't know. Everyone was talking about it. Even Jiang Qingying was a little surprised. Lin Yu's background was already a mystery. Now, there was actually another person from the Killing Heart Palace in the Endless Dao world. It's not hard to get to know you. After all, in the past 1,000 years of the Killing Heart Palace, the only person who was publicly acknowledged to be able to cultivate the Heaven Blade to the 8th extreme was the strongest person, Lord Killing Heart. Lin Yu chuckled. There's another person who managed to cultivate the Heavenly Blade to the 6th level at the age of 20. His talent is comparable to Gue Rulai in the Killer Heart Palace. Every word of his made that feminine Dao Feng's brows furrow even tighter. This person did not seem to be as simple as he had imagined, even though he already felt that Lin Yu's move today was very extraordinary. Now, he was already a little surprised. Am I right, little master? Lin Yu finished his sentence. The others could not hear him. However, little master's heart tightened, and he could not help but smile. Interesting, interesting. I didn't expect to meet such a powerful person on my first trip out. Little master seemed to be excited. You're such an interesting person. I really don't want to be your enemy. Jiang Qingying is related to the whereabouts of my grandmaster. Please make things convenient for me. The grandmaster he was referring to was Lord Killing Heart. If you want to know Gue Rulai's whereabouts, you'd better listen to me. Lin Yu spoke again. Little Master squinted his eyes slightly, and there was some surprise on his fair face. "What?" Lin Yu said with a smile. "Jiangqing knows Gue Rulai's whereabouts. You also know this, and I can tell you that this information is true." Little Master swallowed his saliva. He was horrified. This kid even knew what information Killing Heart Palace had obtained. Sure enough, he had underestimated him. "You're inexperienced, so you may not be able to find out Jiang Qingying's secret," Lin Yu continued. "If you think about it carefully, you will know that Lord Killing Heart was able to compete with the Sword Emperor of Fong Yidao world. There are less than 10 people in the Heaven Desert universe who can be compared to the Sword Emperor and Sword Emperor. How could Jiang Qingying, a mere heavenly supreme, imprison such a powerful person?" Little Master did not speak, because he could not refute. Lin Yu's information was obviously not inferior to Killing Heart Palace's. Moreover, his analysis of the situation was more thorough than Killing Heart Palace's. If you let Jiang Qingying leave the glazed, moon-stepping tower rashly and alert the enemy, I'm afraid your Grandmaster will really be in danger. As soon as he said that, the saber in Little Master's hand moved closer to Lin Yu. "Is my Grandmaster really still alive?" Little Master suppressed his inner excitement and asked. Lin Yu smiled and calmed the 10 supreme martial artists again. At this moment, even Little Mimi and Zhang Qingxue were nervous for Lin Yu. After all, that seemingly ordinary saber had already landed on Lin Yu's neck. It could land at any time. Gue Rulai is naturally still alive. Otherwise, I would not have spared Jiang Qingying's life. Lin Yu smiled faintly. "Now, do you still want to snatch her away? Your information and means are indeed better than mine." Although Little Master said so, there was still doubt on his face. "Unfortunately, if it's as you said, how can you deal with someone who can imprison my martial ancestor better than me?" Little Master took a few steps back and waved the saber in his hand. A strong wind formed an air wall. "Your Excellency is not from the infinite Tao world, so I can't trust you easily. At least, if you can't even break my saber in 10 air wall, I will definitely take Jiang Qingying away today." Little Master and Lin Yu distanced themselves from each other. "Interesting," Lin Yu muttered to himself. On the day he was trapped, he had dealt with Little Master several times, who had been extremely confident in his saber skills since he was a child. At this moment, Lin Yu closed 2 fingers on his right hand and held the saber horizontally across his arm. An invisible saber intent burst out from his arm at that instant. "Using my hand as a saber." Little Master's pupils dilated. The next moment, Lin Yu swept his arm horizontally, and a terrifying saber intent suddenly formed. His arm was the sharpest saber at this moment. "This is impossible." Little Master's eyes widened. At this moment, the saber in his hand actually had an instinctive impulse. He had the urge to compete with Lin Yu for the title. A saber technique appeared in Lin Yu's mind. It was in the infinite Tao world. It was a saber technique that most experts knew. However, even though many people knew about it, there were only a handful of people who had mastered the saber technique. In particular, those who could master the 3rd level and above were already very rare. The saber intent formed in Lin Yu's hand. It was an invisible saber intent that was 10,000 feet long, and it was directly slashed down by his arm. It was the realm quaking saber technique of the infinite Tao world. Heavenly Saber, 6th move. Chapter 610. Lin Yu used the 6th move of the Sky Saber as soon as he attacked. This saber technique was wide open. Even though Lin Yu used his hand as a saber, it still displayed an extremely strong and fierce aura. Little Master waved the long saber in his hand again. Because the moment Lin Yu attacked, he already knew that his chi wall would not be able to withstand it. Even his current understanding of the Sky Saber had only reached the 7th move. Lin Yu's 6th move had already reached the point where he could not underestimate his opponent. The extremely domineering saber technique fell, setting off waves of chi that directly surged up. The surrounding airflow was stirred up. Those who were slightly closer to the battle including Zhang Qingxue and Little Mimi, were the first to activate their defensive chi wall. It seemed that because Lin Yu was deliberately taking care of them, the saber intent chi waves did not affect them too much. The sixth move of the sky saber instantly descended and slashed precisely on the two overlapping chi walls of Little Master. Rumble. Boom. 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 It was the sound of the space being violently rubbed against the power. Under the saber intent, the chi walls were shattered. The next moment, bang, the chi wall shattered. Little Master immediately took a step back. He avoided the remaining power of the sixth move of the sky saber. Lin Yu did not use the eternal law. If he did, the saber intent would be endless, and he would not be able to offset it so easily. Even so, Lin Yu's terror still deeply shocked Little Master. This was the second time he had a new understanding of Lin Yu. The first time was when Lin Yu mentioned the relationship between Lord Sha Xin and Jiang Qingying. The second time was now. Lin Yu's sixth move of the sky saber had exceeded Little Master's normal understanding. Sir, are you also from the infinite Tao world? Little Master's chi and blood surged. No, Lin Yu said faintly. Little Master looked even more surprised. The saber technique of the sky saber was not a big secret in the infinite Tao world. It could be said that the sky saber was a public saber technique that everyone knew. However, not everyone could practice it. The difficulty of cultivating Skyblade is unimaginable. Since you have such attainments in Skyblade, it seems that you have put in a lot of effort. Little Master judged. Lin Yu rubbed his chin. It really took a lot of time. He remembered that on the day he was trapped, he should have reset himself 300,000 times before he cultivated his saber technique to an inestimable level. Naturally, Lin Yu did not only practice Skyblade. He also practiced many other blade techniques. These countless saber techniques came from all over the starry sky that Lin Yu could reach. Just like his swordsmanship, people from different universes had different levels of swordsmanship and saber techniques. As for Lin Yu himself, he didn't know what realm he had reached. In any case, this was the realm standard that they had set. Even Lin Yu could do it now. I started practicing the saber at the age of 3 and comprehended the heavenly saber's first style at the age of 5. It took me 16 years to reach my current level. Little Master murmured and looked at Lin Yu up and down. You don't seem to be 16 years old yet. I should be soon. Lin Yu waved his hand and dispersed the saber intent. However, the yak elephant below Lin Yu took most of the damage from the saber. At this moment, it spat out a large mouthful of blood in front of its huge head. The elephant leaned forward, and the whole altar slid down and smashed directly into the square. The power of Skyblade was enough to make this super demonic beast kneel down. Sure enough, he is not 16 years old yet. Little Master was shocked again. No matter how he counted, Lin Yu hadn't practiced the saber for as long as he had. However, Little Master couldn't figure out his realm at all. You have performed the 6th style of Skyblade, but you seem to have some understanding of the 7th style? Little Master could see that Lin Yu's 6th style already had the shadow of the 7th style. The 7th style, the 8th style, the 9th style, I seem to know a little bit of them. Lin Yu touched his chin and answered seriously. His words were as light as the wind and clouds. However, for Little Master, it was like a bolt from the blue that exploded in his mind. You know the 9th style of Skyblade? Little Master asked immediately. For thousands of years, it was said that only one person in Killer Heart Palace had mastered the 9th style, and that was Killer Heart Buddha Gue Rilai. I know a little bit. There should be more than 9 styles of Skyblade. Lin Yu spoke again. As soon as he said that, Little Master was even more shocked. The 9th style of Skyblade. It was a well-known thing in the saber seal of the infinite Tao world. However, Lin Yu said that there were more than 9 styles of Skyblade. What do you mean? Little Master was eager to know the answer. However, Lin Yu spread his hands. Let's talk about this later. I have other things to deal with. Lin Yu poured a basin of cold water on Little Master's head. Do you want to continue? Lin Yu asked in return. I said that I would trust you if you could break my chi wall. Now, not only did you do it, but your attainments and saber techniques are also far better than mine. How can I continue to be shameless? Little Master shook his head and said, he was not tactful in his character. In Lin Yu's memory, a talented saber seal like him was easier to get along with than those scheming people. Lin Yu nodded with a smile. Little Master continued, Grandmaster's matter is extremely important to me. I will still investigate it secretly. Of course, I promise that I won't take action unless it's necessary. That's enough. Lin Yu nodded. Little Master's current attitude was already very rare. If they were in the infinite Tao world, Little Master would not be convinced by anyone except the former Saber King, Gue Rulai. Now, Lin Yu's impact on Little Master in a short period of time was enough. Little Master left sensibly. However, before leaving, there was still some desire in Little Master's eyes. Lin Yu's attainments in the Heaven Saber were unpredictable, and there were more than 9 moves in the Heaven Saber. It was a fatal attraction for Saber Seal. Everyone's eyes were still on Lin Yu. At this moment, Lin Yu looked down and ordered the former absolute ruler of the glazed moon-stepping tower, keep her alive. I have a use for her. His words were in absolute order now. The 10 Supreme Masters immediately detained Jiang Qingying, and the other people of the glazed moon-stepping tower also lowered their heads, waiting for Lin Yu's judgment. In this world, force was power. Jiang Qingying had been defeated, Lu Yanqing had become Lin Yu's disciple, and Hong Binglu had been killed. The 3 Tower Masters had no one to rely on. These female disciples naturally became meat on the chopping board. The saber was in Lin Yu's hands. It was up to him to decide when to strike and who to kill. Qin Wenyan, if you give face to the earthly fire-burning pavilion today, I can let bygones be bygones. On the other side, the Arch-Emperor, who had been seriously injured, shouted at Lin Yu. Although he had given up resisting, he still looked a little unconvinced. Face? Lin Yu pursed his lips. It's always others who give face to me. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.